whipped it like I whipped it. This is WKBN Live, and we now present the Hall of Fame live.
Welcome to the Hall of Fame. Your host, Fame. And I'm your co-host, Shishula Fame. In box number 7, we have Elder Slim, also known as Master Slim. You may visit him on YouTube at Pro Truth number 4, Men of Color. In box number 3, we have the infamous Real, whose topics have been known to be explosive, controversial, a man who is a dog at getting to the precise facts of the matter. Let's get ready to rumble.
DJ
All right. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. I'm just about to lay down some of the ground rules so that our audience knows exactly what's going on. Here are the rules. What we're going to do is do 5-minute introductions each. That means Rel will get 5 minutes. Elder Slim will get an equal 5 minutes. Then we'll move into a question and answer session. We'll have 3 questions and will be followed by a 4-minute response. So your answer, guys, is going to be time. I'm going to have a timer, and you're going to get 4 minutes to respond to the answer, to the question. We'll go through each of those 3 questions, and then we'll go into a free-for-all discussion, and that will be a 5-minute time. Then we'll go into the decision. We'll make a decision and we'll judge. After the decision has been made, we'll open up the entire panel for discussion. Rel, are you ready? Elder Slim, are you ready?
Yes.
If you take both the gentlemen off mute. And we're going to go ahead and Fame. You got the dice ready. We're going to go with, I'm going to roll the dice whenever Fame gets the dice out. All right. And the highest number is going to go first. Let's see.
Hey, let's get this motherfucker in there, man. Who got one? Oh, they got it. They pulled it out. Ooh, that was a beautiful
My
snipe.
snipe
like
game
that.
go crazy. I told you don't
That
fucking
shit
play
was-
with my snipe game.
That was
All right, guys, let's get ready. We're going to, Fame, you ready to roll the dice to see who goes first?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I know we said highest number, but who do we determine the highest number goes to?
Whoever call it. High, low, whoever call
What's
it.
your number? Rel?
I'll go. I'll what's this say? I'll go high. Whoever has it. Oh, I guess you go first. I go first. Whoever has high.
Just give me a number, guys. I think the dice are 1 through 6.
Real could go ahead and start his opening statement. That's fine.
Absolutely. Let's do it. All right, here we go.
Okay. Like the host
And
said,
when you
thank
hear,
you.
guys, I'm so sorry. And when you hear this sound, means your time is up. And
Okay.
Rel, I'm going to start the timer now.
Okay. Like the host said, thank everybody for coming. I appreciate this. This is a serious conversation, even though we joke about it, but let's get to it. I got a disclaimer in no shape or form in regard to this debate or bill. I'm saying anyone's a bad parent, unfit parent, or any variation of that. I completely understand the historical and generational reasons why people perceive this method of discipline to be acceptable, but I don't have to agree with it. And why parents do it today, basically. And I will challenge you to say most parents that use that form of discipline simply do it because they endured it themselves, and that this method should have been abolished completely, especially in this country at least 50 years ago. Physical discipline is the most underrated, but one of the most destructive methods kids endure psychologically today. We have to be honest with ourselves, especially the majority of people that endure the method of discipline themselves. We overlook it on purpose. I have a saying, people that don't want to associate the seed to their traumas to the fruit that it becomes in their adulthood. And that's a fact. We don't want to associate it. Examples that we all can look for as far as like what we see day to day around our peers, around people. You can use Beagle for measurement, but these are things we should be looking for. A decrease in social emotional development, a decrease in self-regulation, aka lack of accountability, a decrease in cognitive development, increase in anxiety and depression disorders, increase in antisocial behaviors. We see this all the time. Impaired parent-child relationships. We see that. Low self-esteem. These are a fraction of what the responses are as an adult. I don't think we truly quantify exactly how our childhood experiences affect our adulthood. We use this what doesn't kill us makes us stronger ideology in our community. We believe what we endure mentally and physically in the worst way makes us stronger, and we measure it based off our success or lack of it in society. You should never measure the well-being of your mental health on what you achieve or don't achieve in society. Here's some other tidbits. The use of physical force against children has deep roots. Throughout history, children were objectified as subhuman, the property of adults to do as they please. Maltreatment was the norm, and children were civilized by routine beatings. And worse, in the US, it was up until 1974 that child abuse was made illegal. Even then, it was restricted to actions or failure to act that caused serious harm or death to a child. Physical force that did not cause physical injury or was intended to modify behavior remained legal. The distinction, though, often falls to the eye of the beholder, a judge or a representative of the state. Okay, let's talk about from studies from the American Academy of Pediatrics. Research using MRI to study children's brain found that children who have been sparked or spanked in a neural response to threatening stimuli are similar to those who have experienced sexual abuse. So it hits the same neural system and when you experience physical abuse and severe other forms of depression. So that's just a little tidbit. What most parents won't admit, and this is an elephant in the room, is that hitting a child can provide an emotional release and a fleeting sense of power for the grown-up. An adult may feel frustrated that they've lost control of the child, but when they strike the child stops what they're doing, and usually they start crying. The adult feels validated by getting the child's attention, and their pent-up frustration of anger is released. They believe it worked, and the strategy becomes reinforced. Many parental feelings are maxed by anger, fear, alarm, loss, grief, shock, shame, and lashing out can momentarily transfer the uncomfortable energy onto the child, a much less powerful target. This is a fact. That's what parents are doing, but they won't admit it. Okay,
4
and
minutes.
just to end it, how many more minutes or seconds I got?
You're right at the 4 minute mark.
Okay. So just to end this, children depend on adults around them for survival. This dependency takes the form of attachment. So when children experience pain from the parent who's supposed to keep themselves, is one of the worst kinds of harm they can experience. The nervous system designed to keep them safe begins to get sculpted around the constant threat, creating brain circuitries that are vigilant, reactive, and dysregulated. At the same time, their attachment system needs to keep them in the relationship with the parent. So it devises all kinds of excuses internally. It's not that bad. I deserved it. It made me a better person. We heard that today on the panel. In other words, children disassociate
10
from their feelings of
seconds.
pain and fear with being said, I yield.
Very good. With 3 minutes to spare. All right, we're going to stop there and reset the time. If everyone could mute themselves. Elder Slim, your 5 minutes starts now.
Yo, what's going on, brothers and sisters? So, first of all, I'm not here to promote corporal punishment because that's what it's called. All right, but I don't see anything wrong with spanking or spanking your children. Now, all I have to say is this with my opening statement. Proverbs 13:24. Whoever spares the rod hates his son, but he who loves him is diligent to discipline him. That's it. Let's go.
Thank
I'm
you for
done with my
that.
opening statement.
Absolutely. You still have 4 minutes time. I don't know if you will need that. Next, we're going to move into the question answer portion of the debate. We're going to switch it up and we're going to let Slim go with his first question. Your first question. Are you ready, Slim?
Yes, I'm ready. So my
And
first question.
this doesn't have any
Oh,
time limit. Only the response has a time limit.
okay. So my first question is: do you believe a lot of the violent crimes are the results of corporal punishment?
Go.
Oh, are you done?
Yeah, that's my
I'll start it
question.
over.
Oh, of course.
If you could just ask it one more time, and I'm going to start the clock over. Ask it one more time. If you could ask these questions maybe twice, if just to make sure we're here, and reset the clock and ask the question again, and then I'll start the clock after you ask the question.
Okay. My question again is: do you believe a lot of the violent crimes in America are the results of corporal punishment?
Go.
Yes, I
3
do.
minutes.
Again, I'm going to refer back to Academy of Pediatrics. This is a source site. This is a credible site. And yes, children remember being spanked as an adult. These memories are very strong and lead to feeling a significant anger and betrayal. So, in other words, when it comes to adulthood, when it comes to responses to disagreements, most of when it comes to relationships, as far as domestic abuse physically, it goes from the chances of it being 30% to 80%. When it comes to aggression and altercations, it jumps from 30% to 75 plus percent. So they're basically saying that most of why we react and our first response in nature is to be physical is basically what has been ingrained from the physical abuse, which tells a child, well, when I'm getting beat, I feel like it's okay out of anger to beat others as an adult. And this happens if you look at just the crime rate, especially in the Black community with Black men, as far as physical abuse, is very high. And you ask most of those men, it's because of the type of upbringing they have as far as the disciplinary measures. So yes, I do believe that.
Thank you very much. He's yielding his time. Rose, we're ready for your first question, please, as I reset the clock. And you get 4 minutes to answer, Elder
Oh, I
Slim.
thought he was going to be able
And
to
we're ready for
reply to
your.
that, reply to his question. I thought that was one of the
I
things
was
we said, that he gets to
Oh,
he gets one.
Rebuttal.
rebuttal.
On
Yeah,
rebuttal.
he gets a rebuttal to that. Yeah, but it's
3 minute rebuttal.
after each question. Yeah, right.
Yep.
So after I answer that question, he gets to rebuttal it. So go ahead, Slim. You
well.
got a rebuttal.
I was going to ask you. Can you give me? Do you know one person? Well, not no. Do you know? Can you give me a person that you know of, whether they're famous, or if that is result that has been in violent crimes, that you know that used to get corporal punishment by his parents, by his or her parents? Do you know
I
anybody?
have someone we all know. His name is Troller. He has said often that the result of why he was involved in these circumstances was due to the fact of how he was disciplined as a child. And he said that even when it came to someone just stepping on the shoe, he felt like he had to fight them. So he has admitted this in many occasions. Do you need more people?
And
You don't think
again, this is
you
your
don't think
chance. This is your opportunity to rebuttal. And this is a debate, gentlemen. This is a debate. This is not a question and answer. I understand we're in the question and answer portion, but this is your 3 minute rebuttal. And I'm going to start the clock now, Elder Slim.
so? My only rebuttal is you don't believe that that's the environment that he grew up in, because I also got corporal. I was a result of corporal punishment from my parents, but I didn't do any of that stuff. So I don't. I believe that, and I don't know his history, but if you're saying that's what happened, I believe that it's probably because of the environment that he was in. I don't believe that that's because him getting spankings or corporal punishment by his parents is why he acted out. But I could be wrong. But that's it.
All right. Thank you for that rebuttal. Rel, we're ready for your first question. And go.
Okay. Okay. My first question is, okay, as an adult that believes in physical discipline, aka corporal punishment, aka fuck them kids, are your measurements for that type of discipline, is it based off of your parental expertise? This is a two-part question, by the way. Is it based off of your parental expertise? You went across all options of disciplining and you chose this method, or B, it's easier to spank than to take the time to examine why your child is misbehaving due to the simple fact that that's the method of discipline you endured as a child, and you never considered there could be other methods, and you let that play out for yourself as an adult. Which one do you feel fits your method of why you believe that?
Can you ask that question one more time, please? That was a
Ask the
long
question
question.
one more time and one more time only.
Okay. So as an adult that believes in this, that believes in physical discipline, what are your measurements for that type of discipline? Is it based off of your parental expertise, meaning that you went across all options of discipline and you felt that this method was the best method? Or B, it's easier to spank than to take the time to examine why your child, in your eyes, is misbehaving due to the simple fact that that's the method of discipline you endured as a child, and you never considered that there could be other methods, and you let that play out for yourself as a parent? Which one do you resonate with more?
Well, let me answer this. Let me answer your question in a different way. So, I never spanking was always a last resort. It was never like the first thing that came to mind. Like if my child or my children did something wrong. Now, I will say that I did get it from my parents. I will say that because that's what it was I guess you could say it was a learned behavior, but I never, that was never the first course whenever I used corporal punishment on my children. I would always talk to them first. But if it was a repeated offense, then yes, then I would probably have to spank them. And I guess you could use, and that's what I would do if it was a last resort. It was never the first thing that came to my mind was to spank them. Hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, so it doesn't matter if you hit them first or you hit them due to the
Wait,
fact that they repeated it. It's the simple fact that you didn't take any measurements to look at other ways to discipline or examine based off of what you perceive as misbehaving, and you just did something that was a generational thing. So you're basically, so rather than considering your lack of parenting ability, you just took the course of disciplining. That's basically what I'm hearing from you. So you
Yes.
saying that it was the last course of action doesn't tell me that
Hmm.
you even took
as the
action to go
moderator,
look for other.
I'm going to stop your questioning right there. We're going to save that for the free for all, and we're going to move on to question number two. Um, question
I thought I
number
had to do a
two.
rebuttal.
Oh, I'm sorry, Slim. No, Slim. Hold on one second, Slim.
I
I'm
didn't say
sorry, y'all.
anything. That was real. That was real.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm getting your voices mixed up.
Yeah, I
He
was
asked.
giving the rebuttal to his answer. So I
Thank you.
ask the
Go ahead,
question,
please.
he answers, and I give a rebuttal. Okay. So with that being said, based on the fact that you did not take measurements to find out if there was other methods that probably would have been a little more helpful, you went into the I got beat, I might as well do that. Even if you took a course of being patient with how many times you're doing, you never questioned your parenting ability. So that's all I need to hear.
I agree. I will agree with you on that, real. I'll agree with you on that because we did talk. I did tell you that I had to look back on some of the things that I did, so I agree. All right, I'm done.
All right. And my apologies, guys. I'm getting the hang of it. Gonna move on to question number two. Question number two. We'll start with you, Real.
Okay. So this one is also going to be pretty long. So please, please pay attention, Slim. Okay, this is simple
Hold
though.
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Didn't Real just ask the question to Slim? Now isn't it Slim's turn to ask Real
The
a
first
question?
question
No, it was
started
Slim.
with the first question started with Slim. I've been going back and forth. And he was able to open up with the first question, and now we're gonna let Real open up with the second question, and last we'll have Slim open up with the third question. It is kind of confusing.
Okay,
But
well,
if
I
you
just want
could,
to say something anyway. I ain't said nothing.
thank
Go
you.
Okay.
ahead.
Okay. So number two, do you think if instead your parents took the route of non-physical discipline, where they could teach you to understand the gravity of things at your age-ready level consistently, even when you're not misbehaving, and give you positive feedback for you being more self-aware and responsible with identifying right from wrong growing up, looking back and analyzing yourself today, would that have been a more effective route for you?
And just ask it
Yes,
one more time, Rails.
oh, go ahead.
Okay. So, do you think that if instead your parents took the route of non physical discipline, where they could teach you to understand the gravity of things at your age ready level consistently, even when you're not misbehaving, and give you positive feedback for you being more self aware and responsible with identifying right from wrong growing up, looking back and analyzing yourself today, would that have been a more effective route for you?
To answer your question, yes, I believe it would have been a more effective route if my parents would have probably went an alternate route of disciplining me. So yes, to answer your question, yes.
Okay, I'll rest my case. I don't need to say nothing else.
So that is no rebuttal. He's going to go with no rebuttal there. He can save that for the free for all. We're ready for your second question, Master Slim.
All
Second
right.
question.
So my second question: would the world be in a better place if corporal punishment didn't exist?
Uh, yes, it would have, and the fact that it was even decided to be illegal in 1974 says a lot. That you basically taught and I understand the history. The history was the fact that just a few hundred years ago, kids were considered adults at from 14 to 16, 12 up to that age, men and women. So the type of measurements they had to go through and type of treatment and type of things they had to endure. There was kids working in coal factories and stuff like that, but they had to be adults by the time they was 14 to 16, 12 to 14. So I think that a lot of that stems from the simple fact that you had to be an adult at an earlier age because people were also dying earlier. So I think they should have updated the disciplinary actions of what people can do to little kids because of the whole different measurement now. And I think that the way we structure the society today, the last thing a child needs today is to be disciplined physically. And the methods that are chosen to and why they're doing it is due to selfish and neglecting on the parent. It's not really that the parent is taking ownership on their parenting skills. It's a generational thing that it's a concept and it's an ingrained concept that they have not thought to even say to myself, I didn't like it. Why am I doing it to somebody else? But they choose to take this route. So yes, I believe, at least in this country, this should have been eradicated a long time ago. We see the results. We see why we're antisocial. We see why we don't want to do anything with each other. We see why we don't like to be close to our family. And it could give the alternate version. You will be less docile. You won't. There's people that take, like you said, you did not take that route. You probably got the opposite version of aggression. Okay, that's it.
All right. Great job, guys. Moving to our final round of question and answer. Wait, was there a rebuttal there? Sorry.
Yeah,
Rebuttal,
somehow.
3 minutes.
No, I
Sorry,
don't.
one
I
second.
don't have a. I do not have a rebuttal at all. No.
No rebuttal. Let me just mark that down. I was trying to take notes too, guys. All right. And keep the time, so bear with me. All right, got my pen. All right, we're going to go to question 3, final round of question and answer. And we're going to start with you, Elder Slim. Question 3.
Well, I need
Oh, your
fame. I
panel.
need. I need. Yeah, but fame. I need a favor because the
What's
question
that,
three
brother?
requires a video. Do you have time to play a video? It's only four. I only need to play 4 minutes of the video that which I'm going to where the question is going to be towards real. Can you do that for me? That video that I sent you.
Give me 1 second.
And real, if you're listening to video, there's an 11-year-old girl. She's she was in a public school. She got pushed. She got kicked out of public school, and now she's in alternative school. And my question that I'm going to ask you once you finish watch the question that I have for you is, would you use corporal punishment on this 11-year-old girl? But I want you to watch the video first.
Okay.
And I only need 4 minutes. I only need 4 minutes of the video. That's it.
Share the love.
Swagged up like AR, and I keep that bankroll. This came out like me. 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 This came out like me.
No, he caught the ball, J1.
What did he say?
Right. He caught the ball.
What says you've been hit? This is the last time. When you out, you out.
My name is Ariel. I'm 11 and I like playing dodgeball. And I like Hello Kitty and Minnie Mouse. Every time I get a chance to color, they always wear pink and purple, and I like pink and purple. Now, which one you doing? Where your picture at? Want to pick you one?
Yeah. I'm gonna do Mickey Mouse. Give me him.
Brother and sister.
I'm the master at coloring. We're gonna ask everybody who looked the best.
We asking staff. Because I know I'm going to win. I'm patient. Other like you.
You just carry both of them and just walk up to the staff and say which one looked the best. But don't tell them which one you drew.
Bet, watch this. Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Which one look better? You gotta pick one.
Yeah, which one looks the better?
Yeah.
This one.
This one?
This one.
Minnie?
Minnie.
2 minutes.
Survey.
You pick Mickey?
Yes.
I'm still going. Watch. And somebody better pick the girl.
I like Minnie Mouse.
Yes. Everything I get in trouble for is the same. When I get mad at somebody, I get up and then I try to walk out the classroom.
Don't do that, Ariel. Stop. Stop.
Stop, Ariel. Come on, girl.
Come on. You know. Where you going? You trying to go back outside?
Stop doing that. Stop.
Where you gotta go?
Bitch, let me go.
3 minutes.
Not before you leave, comments don't have to spit, right?
Nope.
Yeah, you go get Mr. Williams.
At first, I don't start just cursing. I tell them let me go because they be holding me and be making me mad. I don't like them touching me. Let me go. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you.
Oh, we good. You can go ahead and end it. We good. So my question is, would you use corporal punishment on her real?
Absolutely not. And it seems to me that you have this ideology that children that have behavioral issues stems from the autonomy of just the child as a soul, and it seems like you're basically putting all that responsibility on the child as if she didn't have parents, as if they probably had everything to do with why she's like that. From what they did, for what they did to her that was irresponsible, and what they didn't do for her that was irresponsible. This saddens me that you believe that if anything, that you just look at this child and you say beat her. That is sad. You don't even see the people trying to control her beating her. So why would you think that people that are professionals not doing it? Why would you assume? Again, it comes from a trauma. You're reinforcing the abuse you endured, and now you think you're basically attaching it to anything you deem to be a behavior issue. That's not a behavioral issue. That girl is going through something, and that's the last thing I would ever do. I would be patient and I would tolerate because I want to help her. The last thing you want to do to a young lady like that is put your hands on her. I yield.
All right, I have no rebuttal.
Great, thank you so much. And that does conclude our line of questioning, our question and answer session. And now we're just gonna, before we make a final decision and judge, we're gonna open you can open freely your mics and go back and forth for a 5-minute free for all. After we make our decision, we're going to ask you, the audience, to help us vote. We have 3 judges. We have Faye, myself, and JR, who will then deliberate on what the audience thinks and what our answers are. We have been listening very closely to the different issues and the different topics and questions. And so we're going to collaborate and come to a decision and offer up a winner. Now, let's move to our 5-minute free for all. Let me reset my clock. Reset and go.
Anybody can say on the comments on the panel if they want to say something. So be free to ask any questions.
Yeah.
I do want to address them, but give me just a second. I'm gonna let y'all say what y'all gotta say.
And I know that Elder Slim does have 4 guests here today. This will be a great time to ask them any questions that you have, Slim, so that we can use that weight in making our decisions.
No.
The floor is open for-
No, we good.
I'm
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna use the guests, the ones that I said that I wanted to. I'm not gonna do that. We good. We good on that. Now, somebody asking me why would I beat her? Now, let me say this real quick, because I don't know. I don't know what her problem is. I actually watched the whole video, all right, and I saw the background. So, one, I know that her father is not in her life, so that's why. But that's why I didn't want to play the whole video. I didn't feel like playing it because the whole video was like 15 minutes. But I'm not. See, y'all using the word beat. I mean, yes. Does she need some discipline? Yes, she does, because ain't no way somebody just gonna be able to spit just like that. I don't know. I'd be upset if somebody spit on me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she spit on the floor, but to me that's nasty.
You don't believe that you don't believe that it probably evolved into like being.
Hold on 1 second, real. Anybody want to drop down before I pick somebody to drop down? Anybody want to volunteer to drop down?
If you're not gonna talk, drop down. Like I don't even know why y'all.
So wait, can we talk now, or we still gotta wait on y'all to finish?
Yes, I do want to address something real quick because I think Slim, I have to address one thing and just be a little patient with me. Can y'all hear me? I just want to make sure I say it.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, just making
Yes,
sure.
and you're
okay,
at the
gonna
2-minute
this,
mark of the 5-minute free for all. 2 minutes.
Okay, so I just want to throw this in here because I have to. So whoever spares the rod hates the child, but the one who loves their child is careful to discipline them. Let me explain something. I'm going to use Israelite culture. So in Israelite culture, the rod was a natural symbol of authority as a tool used by the shepherd to correct and guide his flock. Moses, in fact, initially carried his rod while tending to his sheep, and later became a symbol of authority. A shepherd's crock, which is that staff that has a crook at the end or whatever, they're literally there to guide the sheep. It literally says it's not used to hit the sheep. So I don't know whether you think the rod is a hand, a switch outside. a hanger that's been bent into like a stick and used for a child, or even making a child go into the shower to get naked and get wet and coming in for a belt and beat them. I don't know whether you consider those things rods, but let me do. A lot of people misinterpret the spare the rod part of the euphemism. They think that the rod is a whipping cane, and I think that's what Slim thinks. Sparing the rod is like saying not hit a child to him, rather than the authority of a parent. His responsibility is to teach. So discipline means teach. It doesn't mean punish. So I think there's the concept that, the people that believe it keep forgetting. To discipline is to teach a child right from wrong and to have discernment between the two. So if there's nothing in the Bible that uh that promotes corporal punishment at all. I think that so that's it. Go ahead. Just had to debunk that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
The
I
floor
didn't
is
say
4
any
open.
of that.
minutes.
Oh, the floor's open.
I didn't say any of that. But listen, I'm not here. Listen, if I'm not here to promote beating your kids because I see that in the comments. You know,
You
I'm not
just
here to
said that
promote
little
that.
girl that was probably the worst case scenario deserved to be beat. And you don't really
Well,
have any.
Very
What
much
are
so.
you measuring it from? Are you measuring from the
well,
fact that you know how to discern behaviors from children? Because a lot of it is just it being a child. And if you're not guiding the child, it's most likely going to go in those places of rejecting a lot of things. And I think that y'all just perceive it as misbehaving, but it's a child growing up. It got to you're not consistently guiding and helping a child learn. They're going to do things like that. But you just looked at
yeah,
the finished work as something that needs to be beat.
okay, but again, I watched that. I watched the whole video, but I mean, besides the video, even though that was extreme, but all I'm saying, I mean, look, I don't see a problem with somebody spanking their child. I think everybody looked at it as like it's abuse, and it's not. Oh, are we done? All right, we done. I guess that's the horn.
Hey, for audience members, we see you here. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. We've just concluded our debate with Rel and Elder Slim on the whether we should spank our children or not, whether we should corporally punish, whether we should beat our kids or not. So what we're gonna do, audience, are you there? We're gonna ask you to put a 3. We're gonna ask you to put a 3 or a 7 in the comments if you are going for Rails, who presented an explosive argument on why we should not resort to this type of discipline. And that's 3 in a comment. And if you're going to go for Elder Slim, I'm going to have to go back in these comments, who gave a monumental, and when I mean monumental, view on why we should resort to disciplining our children with spanking, particularly spanking our children. So we're looking in the comments, and we're going to also ask the judges. Thank you so much, DJ JR. Big shouts out to DJ JR. Y'all stay tuned to some things that JR has going on. Thank you for providing us some music as we deliberate. Fame, we want to thank you for hosting this debate.
Well, let me close this
And
out.
if you guys could just take a few pieces of notes about what you've heard from each contestant, 3 and 7. Once the audience gets their vote in, we're going to deliberate and give some feedback to why we chose the winner that we chose. Thank you again so much,
All right,
DJ JR, for the
let's open
deliberation
up the
music.
floor. Let's open
Okay,
up the
let's open it
floor.
up. All right,
Anybody on the panel want to say something? Feel
Yes.
free to speak your mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to say something. I think when you started your debate or when you start an argument and use the Bible to justify, I think that, in my opinion, that just stems from a generational aspect, the generational trauma. They use the same Bible to whip slaves, and then you, in turn, use it to justify beating your child or whatever. And I think sometimes when, or most of the time when people use the, spare the rod, spoil the child, they never seem to finish that entire scripture. They only use the part that they think that is
Yeah, they
making their
think the
point.
rod. They think the rod is a tool, and then even the shepherd uses that tool, and they don't even hit the sheep. And the rod must be anything. They use anything. They pick up a shoe. They pick up a shoe. They pick up a metal
Oh yeah, it's your
hanger.
turn. It's on her. Somebody hit him with the noise.
But
So this what I want to say, right? I think us as parents, as people, not even just parents, because your aunties, your uncles, y'all be giving people the right to just hit your children, and they feel like hitting your kids for any little thing just because they're acting out, instead of going deep into the problems of why your kid is acting out. 9 times out of 10, kids are getting neglected. They're not feeling like they're being heard. All type of things. It like that video that you played, Slim. I don't think that video too much helped your case, because you could clearly tell, like you could hear the hurt in that little girl's voice. You could tell that she had some type of underlying issues and trauma that she had going on in her life. I feel like us as a people, black people, that's our go-to to solve any problem, is to just hit them. 9 times out of 10, that's your child is gonna keep stuff away from you, not talk to you. It's certain things that you just should not do. And I believe hitting your children, it should not be one,
Okay.
even down to cursing at your kids the way that people do. That's okay.
All right. I love the passion. Ma'am, I can't see your number right now, but when we open up the discussion to the panel, I would like for you to start off the discussion. I didn't want to cut your wisdom there. But we're ready to make a final decision. I want to hear from Fame. I want to hear from...
What the heck? Am I frozen or she frozen?
She's
Yeah, she
Go
frozen.
ahead. I'm sorry. Am I frozen?
Yeah,
I
You're
didn't
good
let the
now.
you
panel
were
talk at all.
froze.
I'm frozen?
All right, yes. This is what we finna do right now. We're gonna let her finish her statement. We're gonna let them talk and deliberate. You know what I'm saying? Everybody get what you want to get out right now. Go ahead. Everybody say something. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really think
I just
I've
want to say, as
gathered all
far as
my
the
thoughts.
debate,
What'd you say,
Elder
Fame? I didn't hear
Slim,
that last part, Fame.
I haven't gathered all my thoughts. Let everybody talk right now.
Okay.
as far as the debate, Elder Slim, it didn't seem like you had any of your facts together. It didn't seem like you had researched anything about why and how and what the effects of spanking your child might do to benefit them. And it sounded like you kind of just gave in because maybe you realized that you had nothing to rebuttal and you gave in on a lot of the questions, which forfeited the debate, sort of. So I would have liked to seen you have more information to support why you think that corporal punishment or spanking your child
Lady, didn't you say you hope
benefits
my
them in
child
a
burn
way.
in a truck?
Oh,
Why are
wow.
you even
Wait,
talking about
what?
this? Yeah,
You
about
said what?
5. This lady just she
Like
threatens
I
my
said,
kid once a
we're
week.
gonna go ahead and come to a decision. Audience.
No,
Well,
we're
why
not.
you such
Hold
a
on. Let
liar?
them finish.
I feel as though,
You
if
shouldn't
in
be here
speaking
talking about
on that,
children
if
by
you
5
have
at all.
children, as well as protecting them, speaking on that, sometimes you parents got to think not to put yourselves in situations because you're
Lady, you
not the
threaten
only
Ashley
ones
Banks' kids. You
involved.
threaten my kids. You threaten
No, no,
somebody's
no. I
kids
didn't
once a week.
threaten
You
you.
hate
What I'm
children.
telling you is what I'm
You
telling you
threaten my
now.
children.
When you're in a situation, sometimes you can't pull out the gun because you have a family. You have children to
This lady
protect.
is crazy.
So don't be such a...
Yeah, don't get.
Hello? Because you was just in the comments talking about anyway.
She was just in
Hi,
the
everyone.
comments threatening somebody's kids right now.
All right,
This is
judges, are you
crazy.
Oh,
ready?
wow.
I think the audience has pretty much made a decision about the winner. I want to hear from JR. Are you there, Fame? And I'm going to give my final thoughts and we're going to decide a winner. And then we can open up the floor.
Oh, does that mean I want me to wait?
JR. JR. Okay. Fame, are you there?
Yeah.
Are you ready, Fame?
I'm here.
All
Yes,
right.
hold on. Let me make some adjustments. I don't know you.
And I I can go ahead and give my
Kick
thoughts
her
if you're
out.
still not.
You gotta.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Craig. What you gotta say?
All right. Before we
What
make a
is
final
going
decision, I
on?
do want to say this, which is
Listen, Craig, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'll wait. I mean, I ain't got it. We can wait and let everybody decide who they think won and whatever. It doesn't matter, man. Like I'm open for whatever. Whatever.
All right. Well, first and foremost, I think Real had a better argument. Overall, Slim, that video. I think you were betting on everybody to say, yeah, whoop her ass, but it just didn't go your way. Damn. But come on now. Real box 3, hands down, I'm sorry. I still fuck with you, Slim, but that's just what it is.
Yes, I agree with that.
JR?
I believe that you
um,
definitely could
if
have.
I could
Oh,
just give my final thought.
Hold on. JR, are you there? JR, are you there? Okay. JR has his shit hooked up to the switchboard. Probably need to come in on his other page, but I appreciate everything, JR. I'm gonna mute you back. Okay, Shar, you gonna give your answer?
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Thank you to Fame. And thank everybody for their input so far. Again, we're going to open up the panel for discussion in just a few moments. I want to first start with Elder Slim on his viewpoints about reinforcing, I think it was called abuse. And he went in to talk that it is said that it's done traditionally. He really stood on the fact that this is a generational type of thing. And really that is why he would promote using it. The reason why I felt that Rails won the first question one, is because of his depth of question and the degree of difficulty. Real, you were able to pose difficult questions that provoke thought. So I would say that you won question one for that reason. When we look at question two, you didn't even have to give a rebuttal, Rel. You talked about how this type of punishment became illegal in 1974. And the reason why I think that you also won question two, Reels, is because of the way that Elder Slim proposed the question: would the world be a better place if without corporal punishment? And both times when both of you gentlemen, yours was, do you think it would be better off? You both gave an affirmative yes, that it would be. So unfortunately, Elder Slim, I think you won that question when he said, do you think that he made you as an example. He said, do you think that you would be better off if your parents would have, what did he say, chosen other methods or came with different decisions, or different ways to teach versus punish? And the last question, we talked about the behavioral issues, and unfortunately, with this question, Elder Slim, you failed miserably. I'm so sorry to tell you that. The video tugged at my heart so bad, mainly because I've seen the video. I've seen the video before. What we didn't see, the audience did not see, is the child's home life. And I think about this question, Elder Slim, and I'll land here and give you the decision. I feel like an overall unanimous decision. If that child was presenting as autistic, would you beat the child? And so to wrap up the discussion, I believe Fame and DJ JR would agree with me, along with the audience, that Rails, you are the undefeated, no, whatever they say, you're the champion, you win the debate. Thank you so much, guys. Now we'll open up for discussion.
Play the mama said knock you out. Fame.
I agree with everything that you said, Theological.
I gotta call
I
JR.
agree. She broke it down too.
So
Yeah.
Number 11, you were saying some really good
disappointed.
stuff.
I'm just disappointed that Slim didn't come back and battle
Number
those
11,
and
you were
battle
given
that
some
shit
really
with me.
good. I think it was number 11 who
Hold
was
on,
giving
let the
some really
man
good.
speak, sorry. Hold on,
Right.
hold on. Let him speak. Let him speak. Go ahead.
I was just saying I'm a little disappointed that Slim didn't punch back a little more. I'm sorry, Slim, but
He needed
uh,
you.
I get it. I get it. Real one that shit.
Yeah, I agree. I would have liked to seen a little bit more um information backed behind your or how or what your stance was, Slim. And I also agree with Box Two when she said the moment that you played that video when you asked us to decide whether or not corporal punishment would have been a better option for her, and we're witnessing a very young girl um clearly go through she has clearly shit going on with her and she's very young. I think that's when you kind of shot yourself in the foot with your argument.
Yeah, and for me to critique it all, I feel like real. I feel like you did your research. I feel like even down to the questions, you asked the questions so amazingly that he barely could even answer them. As far as you, Slim, I feel like you should have done more research. I feel like for me, why I feel like you should have done more research, because to be debating something like abuse, I think you should be able to back up why. And for me, I don't think you displayed any valuable reasons as to why it's okay. And that's my opinion.
You showed up to this gunfight with a stick. You literally came here to do a
With
dialogue
that
and not
rock.
a debate. I didn't understand that. It was like you thought it was. I mean, you knew this was going to be a debate. You had an ample amount of time to figure out some statistics or something. What happened? What the heck did you do? You didn't come with nothing. You didn't come with anything. Well, I didn't see the
Came with
beginning of the
that
debate,
rock.
so I'll give you that. I don't know if you started off hot with statistics and numbers. You quoted. I know you quoted the 2,000-year-old archaic book, and you was ready to seal a deal with just the Bible, but you got to come with actual facts. I don't know
Yeah, I
if you
don't.
guys went into psychology, and then you showed a video of
Mm-mm.
a little girl who had neurological problems. You can see in the way that she was talking previous to it, even her being disruptive, that she had neurological problems. And the difference between neurological problems, they're just psychological problems. She doesn't have to have any trauma at home for her to have that. It's nurture and nature. So nurture could promote that bad behavior, but nature can also do it as well. So, and it seems like it was her natural nature, which is neurological, and that's not something you can whip out of a child. That is not something that you can discipline out of a child. You can't discipline her away from autism or any other neurological
Absolutely not.
defect that she had.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I honestly thought he would have had some facts behind it. Do you have like, other than the generational thing, do you have any like professional references for why beating could be better? Like in what measurement? Or because what's his name? Craig said sports. Like his example of like a kid that goes through abuse would be better at sports or something. You said something in reference to sports. So why? And I said, okay, well, so is that mantle of like a war is going to mean anything when he's beating his girlfriend because he can run faster or
I did
play
not
football
say
good?
that, real.
Well,
I don't
So
let
I
know
me
what
wanted
let
to
you're
me
talking
like,
about, but I didn't say that.
let me say
One
this
thing.
real quick. I think a lot of times when we look at corporal, because I'm gonna just use what it is, corporal punishment. The first thing that people think is abuse, and it's not always abuse. I mean, yeah, it's going to be painful. I mean, it's just like I'll give you a prime example. Me being when I was in the military, if there were times when soldiers would get in trouble, so I would make them do push-ups.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not the same.
no, I understand that, but if you do enough push-ups, you're going to feel pain in your arms, right?
It's
Yeah,
not the
but
So
same.
that's
We're
not
is
talking
that
that's
about a
not the
child and an adult.
no?
same.
Whoa, whoa,
exercises.
whoa!
All you do,
Hold
that's not
on,
pain.
hold.
That's stress.
Okay, but still, is still a form of punishment, correct?
It's discipline. It's not punishment. I mean, you're
Okay,
instilling
See, this
okay,
is
discipline.
well,
why I
this,
say discipline does not mean punishment. It means teach. It's correction. It's not
And I
punishment.
okay,
want to
so,
This
say
is where
this.
right, so, okay, I get all that. Look, I don't have all the research. You know what I'm saying? I know
Mm,
there are people that are walking around here that have probably been spanked and they're functioning very well in society and they're not going crazy. They ain't walking around here like you step on my shoe, we about to throw
well, let me
blows.
ask you a question,
I
Elder
don't think that's
Slam,
like that.
because
Yes,
we had
ma'am.
a and I wish you would have had the same passion during the debate. The reason being is I know that you had about four or so different individuals that you wanted to bring up that you had personally questioned about their history of punishment growing up as a child. And I would ask you, what is their functionality? You said you're functioning adults. What are their functionalities when it comes to their relationships? Meaning, are they married? Are they single? Are they divorced? And maybe what kind of role, tap your bags that may have played upon their relationships. You understand? Or maybe why they maybe not be in a relationship or why they have a failed marriage. Could that be linked back to corporal punishment? Yes, they're
No,
successful in their life. Hey, if I can
I
finish,
don't.
because you had plenty of
Okay, go
time to
ahead.
debate rails, and I don't think you want to get into it with me, Master Slim. Now, let me
We
say
can
this.
go back and forth.
I love what Rails how he talked about teaching, because he actually swayed my decision on corporal punishment.
Hold on. Before I forget the question, answer the question. God damn. What? Answer the question, Slam.
You went
Answer the
left,
question.
Elijah.
I don't even know what the question is. I mean, she questioned it. She went into talking, so I don't know what the question is. So go ahead.
It wasn't.
So I'm gonna put
Yeah,
myself on mute.
yeah. The floor is open. It wasn't really a question.
All right.
Um,
So if I could
So
share,
go ahead. Go ahead. Go. Go
I,
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you
thank you
go.
so
so
much.
I so
Thank you
I
so
am a
much.
product. Yeah, right. So I am a
Thank you.
product of discipline and being spanked, and we also spank our children. Okay, and both my children are very well adjusted. We did not abuse them. We tapped them on the bottom, like I got tapped on the bottom many times for corrective behavior. My parents did not abuse me, was corrective.
It's still
Now
abuse.
I don't know. I don't. I hear you. You guys can call it. You can call it whatever you like. I'm telling you, I know as a person who lived in my family with my father and my mother that I, Edward, was not abused. Okay, I didn't abuse our children either, and our children turned out to be exceptionally well behaved children. So it just depends on how you guys like it. But I know what happened in our home, and I'm good with it. Obviously, people can take it too far, but let's just make sure that everyone's not talking about harming their children, but trying to set some discipline. And that's what happened for Edward. I land.
Setting discipline with physical violence is still abuse.
Go
There's
ahead,
no way if
Kiana.
you put it. I don't care if you've been doing it for
You guys,
generation
you
after
guys,
Sorry.
Thank you,
generation.
again, you guys
Kevin.
call it
Or
whatever you
and if
like.
your
And
rubric,
I
hold on,
had to learn that too.
Wait,
Let me
wait.
finish my statement. Let me finish my
I'm
statement.
after
If
Troller.
your rubric, if your rubric to success is them getting a job, that doesn't denote success. They have to have mental stability. And this is the problem that most parents have. They think that, oh, if this person goes to school, get a job, I'm successful as a parent. And the thing about it is, they're successful as children. They grew up and became successful. There's plenty of kids that got beat the crap out of, not just spanked, but beat the crap out of and became successful. So if we was using the same rubric though, and we said, okay, well, this child was abused and moved from home to home, and they still ended up being a celebrity or it still ended up being a business person, that doesn't denote the fact that there was still an abusive household that they came from. So you can't take the results of somebody's life and then compare it to what you did to them as children. So it's
Remember what I was
really
saying this yesterday,
the
Tony?
best
Okay.
benefactor
How
would be to
people,
see if those children then continue your level of discipline with their children, because then it becomes a
Okay.
generational curse. Like so, and
Okay.
that and we're also talking about psychology too. If you go to the DSM, you'll see that you can have a good job, you can be working in a good job,
still
and
be a
I
good
could be taking care
citizen
of my
of the
kids right now and still be a serial killer. That doesn't mean anything though. So mental
Okay. So
stability is what we're trying to achieve here. It's not just
Hey,
I want to
so
look
what
successful.
you did?
Hold on,
Wait,
Okay,
hold
so
Edward.
on,
we're
Can
so
we
gonna do
get
like
people
we're
who
gonna
have
do like
Edward,
this.
can
We're
we
gonna do
keep
this.
the order? Can we
We're gonna
keep
do
the
this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna start using the hands. I know I seen Kevin. I know I seen Kiana. Craig, real back on Craig again. All right, let me just let me take y'all off mute. All right, but we're not gonna go ahead, Kevin.
Nah, what's Kiana? Go ahead, Kiana.
All right, thank you. So real quick, so I wanted to respond to Slim when he said, "Oh, corporal punishment." He doesn't mean to beat them, but in fact, in the definition, that's exactly what that means. So caning and flogging. And if you don't know what that means,
Huh?
flogging is a punishment in which the victim is hit
Yeah, it is.
repeatedly with a whip or a stick. Edward, uh, hit repeatedly with a whip or a stick, and caning, which is hit with the cane as punishment. And then corporal punishment examples are hitting, slapping, spanking, shaking, punching, kicking, choking, electric shock, confinement in small spaces, excessive exercise, and fixed postures for long periods. And you can also do that with a dog. That's how they train dogs as well. But but
Facts.
So I had just wanted to say, well, you won that shit hands down. And I think Slim, you could have came a little bit more prepared. I think once Real started hitting you with those questions, he was like, nah, I can't handle it. You just back down. I'm kind of disappointed a little bit. But as me and my wife are training to become foster parents. We are doing our training to become foster parents. We got one more week of training. And in our training, all they keep telling us is, as foster parents, we have to be mandated reporters now. We are mandated reporters. Anytime we see someone hitting a kid in the store, we have to report it. It doesn't matter. We have to report it because if I see that shit happen in front of me and I don't do anything about it, and that child gets physically and mentally abused or some type of way, I can be held accountable for that. So it ain't gonna happen on my watch. And then secondly, as a person who are trying to become foster parents, they tell us right now that is number one thing that keeps these kids physically and mentally messed up by hitting them, putting your hands on them. You can do more things to teach your children how to be disciplined without putting your hands on them. Because that shit don't not work all the time. We all know I'm from the 80s. My mama whipped the shit out of me. And it didn't stop me from doing bad things. I got like a tolerance to it. Like the ass whooping stopped working. I still was doing what the fuck I wanted to do. I still was out there going out there selling weed. It didn't stop me from doing anything. So it didn't teach me any type of fucking discipline. You know what I mean? It took me to get adopted for me to actually get that discipline. And he gave my foster father gave it to me in the way of teaching me with words and telling me this is what you need to not do. That's the best thing that ever happened to me because my mama, she would get a switch, a broom or whatever, and tear my ass up, and it did not stop me from going out there and do what I wanted to do. But I'm done though. I just wanted to speak on that factor.
I have no clue who next.
So
Who next?
is it my turn?
It's
Okay,
it's
I think
Craig
it's
turn
Craig
then.
and Beauty.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay,
No, I
sounds
was
good.
after Craig.
I I
You was
just
in a debate,
all that
bro.
I
We counted you.
all that I would say to that is there are kids who have never seen any kind of discipline like spankings that still wind up in jail and do foul shit too. Like nothing is 100%. Just because you received this thing doesn't mean that you're gonna act any certain type of way. Just because you didn't doesn't mean that you're gonna act any certain type of way. It's a form of discipline. It's used by some parents and it works for some kids. There's a fine line between the discipline aspect of it and the abuse, the actual physical abuse of a child.
I think it is
Real
real,
though.
then
Leaving
I mean,
Beauty.
real.
Real, then Beauty.
So
marks on
what?
your
So
kids.
what are you learning? What are you learning from getting hit?
Hold on,
What are you
hold
learning?
on,
Oh,
Nisha. It's on Real, then Beauty.
oh, my bad. Sorry.
Then me.
Okay. Okay. So this is
Don't forget
can y'all hear me?
drill.
Can y'all hear me? Just making sure. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, you're coming through.
Yeah, we can
Okay,
hear you.
okay, just making sure. Okay. So I find it interesting. One instance, y'all using the measurement of where you get in society. And then another instance, Craig just used the fact that an alternative version of not being disciplined means that you can still have the same outcome. But that's not how we discover outcomes and have precautionary measures for like how humans operate. So what we do is find a way to prevent it. So there's like you said, there's no 100% success rate with anything literally that exists in humanity. Nothing. The only thing that I can say that can conclude 100% is numbers. But with humans, there's not. The flaw is humans, even when it comes to operating with numbers. So my thing with that, Craig, is so the this prevents the chances of a lot of things happening psychologically to people. I think we're focused more on the stigma demand out of society to promote mental health when that's not the case. It doesn't matter what you lack, what you gain, or what you don't gain in society. If you're not mentally well as a person and you end up doing something that people weren't privy of because they said, oh, couldn't believe it. He was a doctor. I couldn't believe it. He did this. He was the high school coach that won 8 championships. Why did he murder his wife and kids? This is where it stems from. And this is the problem with people. I don't care if you're religious or not. There's a practical sense to this. And we keep forgetting that we once were kids. And if you endured that type of abuse, I know you had an issue with your parents. I know you felt at one point you probably could not stand your parents and you wanted to leave, and you probably thought about killing yourself under the ruling of your parents. And we're not going to talk about that. But then we're gonna chalk it up to, oh, he made it. He became a doctor. But that's all.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Go ahead, Beauty.
I
I
wasn't
got you,
whooped when
man.
I was younger. I popped my kids when they were little, when they were babies, but I have pretty good kids. I do believe in talking to them and things of that nature helps and goes a long way. I do believe the whooping when y'all go get extension cords and stuff like that. I do think that's a form of a long time ago when they used to whip slaves, so I do believe it's other ways that we could go about disciplining our children, so I don't have a lot of the issues that some other people have when they was whipped. It's a lot of traumatizing situations when you hear people speak on it, but I wasn't whipped, so I land there.
All right, so I was gonna say, and I said this before, and I don't know why people take this personally, right? And this is not a personal attack on Beauty, what she just said, Edward Lennon, what he said, or Real, what he said, or anybody who used an anecdotal situation, right? This is just a fact. When corporal punishment is not a form of discipline, it's a form of punishment. On top of the fact, it doesn't matter what the kid end up being, or you thinking that you have good kids or bad kids, or either or, because there's just the same rubric that you're saying with the little girl. If you said that she's a bad kid, then she would deserve discipline. You saying that your kid is a good kid, so they don't deserve that physical discipline. It's the same argument. So it doesn't change. I want you to understand that. So when you guys are talking about using discipline, what you're talking about is using the punishment. And the thing about it is the punishment effective towards the kid, yes or no? The outcome of that kid's life has zero to do with the discipline. I mean, the punishment that you're giving them. If the punishment worked effectively, then you wouldn't have to use it over and over and over again. If you're punishing them for not listening to your orders and you had to punish them multiple different times for the same thing, then that punishment is not working. So what we're talking about is results on how to discipline your child. We're not talking about, oh, my child ended up going to school. We're not talking about my child can read or your child ended up in prison. Because as Craig said, both things can happen. But there's a lot of people in prison. I think it was 80 something percent on one study that I checked, where people who have received corporal punishment ended up incarcerated because when it comes to males, because what it does teach you is physical violence. That's one thing it does teach you. So when the numbers are swayed the opposite way, and instead of you guys making statements about stuff that you guys not actually going to do the research on, because you're saying it's just as many kids, it's not just as many kids in prison who haven't received corporal punishment. It's a lot more kids in prison that did receive corporal punishment. And the problem is it teaches these same kids that if somebody steps on my shoes, then I should use physical discipline. And if you can't control that kid, because every kid has different neurological responses, if that kid is very hyperactive and aggressive by nature, and you teach him to be more aggressive, what on the outcome of what you have is an aggressive person. And what you can't stop is that person using their emotions at a bar, and somebody hits them and they decide to go too far because they feel like corporal punishment is the only way. I think it's on Nisha then Slim. And
Oh,
then
it's
wait,
okay. I just wanted to ask that
Nisha, then
question.
Edward, then Slim, then Kiana.
You can skip me. I just wanted to ask that question about discipline. Like, what are you getting out of whooping your kids? Like, what discipline is coming out of that? That's my only question.
It's on Edward, then Slim, then Kiana.
Well, I will use all of your terms. I was punished. That's okay. I turned out well. My children were punished. Turned out well. But we also was explained what does good behavior look like. So if you guys think that for me being spanked was punishment, I received it. I'm good. At 60, I'm glad that my dad did what he did and my mom did what she did, because it helped me focus and stay focused. So you're correct. I was punished and I'm okay with it.
You do know slaves have said the same thing before. It's on you, Slim, then Kiana, and on Real.
First of all, congratulations to Real. I already knew it was going to be a landslide because I already knew I was going to get destroyed. But the only reason, look, Kev, I didn't want to. My research was going to be using other people, but I didn't want to put anybody else in the limelight because I don't want nobody to be labeled as an abuser. You understand what I'm saying? Because that already happened with Edwards when Edwards said that he spanked his children. Somebody called, said, "Oh, you abusing your children." Somebody said that. So I said, and I already knew that was going to happen. So I said, let me just go ahead and, because I already knew I was going to lose anyway. I'm not a debater. I've never debated, so I'm not good at it. But at the end of the day, I didn't want to put anybody else in the limelight because I don't need nobody else. I don't need nobody being called any names or called out of their name. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I did that. I don't care about what y'all say about me, but I don't need nobody else affected because of me using them. That's all.
Shut your abusive ass up. Go ahead, Kiana.
Okay, so I'm actually going to read something from the National Library of Medicine. Um, and it says that virtually without exception, these studies found that physical punishment was associated with higher levels of aggression against parents, siblings, peers, and spouses. So for those of you who do use hitting or physical punishment on your children, what steps did you take to prevent the aggression against you, siblings, peers, and potential spouses?
All right, I'll let them answer, but I'm going to say this real quick. And I'm addressing things that I think people just, and I agree with you because I say it all the time. If the child is doing the same thing that causes the physical punishment, why aren't you questioning your own parental capabilities when it comes to why they keep doing it? Now, my thing is, I can guarantee 9 times out of 10 when I ask any adult that has kids or any person that's endured it, I said, has your parent ever asked you, was this discipline method something that I could avoid it for our relationship or the issues you think you have today? I don't think parents even think they even have to ask that question, because as long the parents had this rule, and I used to hear this from a lot of Black people, especially in college, do as I say, not as I do. They really don't feel like they have to explain or justify any reason behind how they use these methods. And I think that's the way most Black families, because I looked at the data and it says that Black families are 2 times more likely to use physical abuse more than whites, Asians, Latinas, Indians, 2 times more likely. And if you ask them why, or if you ask them if they did any research or any other method, They're going to look at you like you're disrespecting them. Who are you to tell me how to raise my kids? They do look at their children like objects when it comes to raising them. They're human beings. And I know you didn't like it. You're telling me because of what you're correlating whooping and your your success in society as if the whooping was the reason why you succeeded. And that's not the correlation. I think you keep saying as if you wouldn't have got there if they took another route. Like, oh, okay, that's the reason why I became this way because they asked. No, that's probably a response to everything interpersonally you had issues with. And I think people don't want to address it because it would say a lot about your relationships with people. And someone did bring that up, but that's all.
I got a
I
question
want to
for the
answer.
panel though.
I want
If
to
we
answer the
can, and
question.
now this was Slim, if we can physically discipline our children when they're not acting correctly, and we're trying to keep a good household, what stops us from physically disciplining our wives?
Cause I'm not your goddamn listen. I'm not your punching bag. I
That's
ain't
a
gonna
good point.
discipline.
So is your child? Wait, hold on, Mel lady, before you answer with emotion, because a child is not a punching bag either. So like, literally, you're
No,
saying I'm not a punching bag, but
that's
my
why I
child
didn't
could
say
be.
child. That's why I stopped. That's why I didn't say child.
No, but listen to the question. If you can physically discipline your child to correct them, what prevents you from physically disciplining your wife or significant other when they're wrong?
So, Trolla, I'm not Slim, obviously. So, and I know you directed that to him, but I I'm kind of on his side with when it comes to a lot of this. So, what I would say to that is, I don't, I would never put my hands on my wife. I was raised not to hit women, not to beat women. I was raised that that's not acceptable behavior for anybody. Only cowards hit, only cowards hit their wives.
So
And
I
I know
like
only
my
people are
wife
cowards
going to
hit
flip
beaten.
it
children
and
too,
say,
though, bro. Only cowards hit
well,
children.
but
This is the fact.
you're
If I
right
walked
to
up to
you're
your
right
kid
to
That's a
and
still
socked
lie.
your kid, you would
listen.
be like, "That was a cowardly
No,
move, right?"
right
I look at it the same way as the parents.
because you're not disciplining my kid. I
I'm
view
not
I
disciplining
view
your wife neither.
no. But listen. So what I'm saying is, and I've said it many times, there is a difference between a discipline by spanking and an actual full-on assault to a child. Like that's not
You
that's
shouldn't be
there's
So,
asking that
so
there's
question because
what you're
you're asking
telling
the
me,
wrong
what you're
dip.
telling me
scenario.
right now, Craig, what you're
Right.
telling me right now, is when your wife does something wrong, it is wrong because you were taught not to spank your wife. And you can call it spanking if you want to. If it sounds better to use the word spanking that you use with children, which is baby talk, but you're using baby talk now, and you think that changes the narrative. Okay, you spank your wife, right? And I'm not talking about in a sexual way. If you spank her when she's wrong with a belt and you take out your belt and spank her the same way that you spank your child, would that be considered abuse? Yes or no?
Absolutely.
Yes, it would be. Yes, it
Okay,
would
well then
be.
it's abuse either way. You're talking about an actual child. I asked Slim though. I'm trying to because you guys are making it seem like children aren't humans now. Like you see how you
No,
dehumanized the child, but then humanized your wife. Yeah, you did. You literally said I was taught and trained not to hit women. Okay, but then you have a little girl who's your daughter who's going to grow up to be a woman. So for some reason, you think it's not abuse to whip her, the kid who has more fragile body, but it is good. It isn't good to whoop your wife who's strong enough to actually take the whipping.
so
You're gonna
I
whip the
also
kid though.
say
Doesn't make
I've
any sense
also
to me.
been a proponent for saying that whipping is spanking, abuse, whatever, however you want to word that, right?
Yeah,
Is a
abuse.
last
I just
resort.
like to
It's a
word it as
last
abuse
resort.
of what it is.
I know you do. I know you do. But
You just said that.
that's
You
an
just
Well,
said it was
absolute la-
abuse. I
that's
asked
my
that.
you
go
if you
next.
spanked your
No,
wife,
I said
would it
that
be abuse? You said yes.
because I've heard that
My go
said
next.
through
That's
several
what it
people on
Yeah,
this
is.
app
go ahead. You can go ahead. I
already
rest my
today.
case. He already said it was abuse. Slim didn't even want to answer.
Right.
Is
So I just wanted to say I voted for real, even though I believe
and spanking your child. And I think the people are disingenuous about the definition of abuse. And abuse is basically, well, physical abuse is basically the mistreatment of your child. And I think the key thing that Slim really missed about is being using wisdom as a parent, right? Because I was a component of a child who got spankings and uh, lectures, or what you want to call them. And and I think also it's a disingenuous thing that we paint this picture of parents who are wise, and they just this monstrous person just going and just slapping their child around, throwing around. But you have those parents like myself. I talk to my daughter and I spank my daughter. And
Let me
I
ask you
know
a
I heard
question.
Troller.
It's your
Hold on,
question,
hold on.
General.
I'm not finished. And I heard Troller say, "Well, if it didn't work the first time, why would you do it again?" Well, even if you talk to your child, because the foolishness is bound in the heart of the child, and they're going through a learning process of what I'm saying, maturing and being a productive citizen it, in society. And so you got to go through those trainings. So it's always a repetitive thing. You always got to what I'm saying, reiterate. And it's just
Okay.
and I believe that some children do, and I believe this also, some children they get it the first time, they don't need whoopings. But some children you have to discipline them with
I,
whoopings. And it's
I
not
just love.
always it's not
Okay.
I'm about to finish. I'm about to finish real. Hold on, light skin dude. And I and and it is not always, what I'm saying, as y'all call it abuse. Like I got like I dissed my daughter. I gave her five strikes plus one, and that's
I
it.
don't
I
think you
don't
want to get into
go into but
detail
in
about
it.
how you beat your daughter. Just say you do it. We don't need to discuss it because I don't know what
No,
you.
no, and also real. When I diss my
Do
children,
do
I make
you
sure that I'm not
do you
I'm not
abuse? Do
I'm
you hit
not
your woman the
angry.
same way?
Angry.
I just want
And
to
I make
ask.
sure
I
when
just want to.
and also I make sure when I whoop my daughter, I'm not angry because it's something I learned from my pastor. Never to whoop
What
your
about your
children while
woman
you're
though? When
angry.
she
Hold on,
does
hold on,
something
hold
wrong,
on.
do
So
you spank her
now,
the same way?
I'm glad. Okay, so now you have a smile on your face when you're doing it. So that, you know what that does with women. You know that it's not even healthy for a
Why are
father.
we talking
If
about women? We talking about
no, hold on,
children.
hold on, hold on, hold on. Because this is a, you know that, and I think Kiana can look it up. She's on that source site because that's a real source site she was on. And you know that the
You
response
dudes are
to girls
crazy.
getting beat by
Not
their
women, but children.
fathers, if the response to that is the kinks and stuff, the choking and stuff. The reason why girls call their boyfriends daddy and things like that. That woman, that is the response. I'm sorry. Like the women are more likely to be in situations where they make excuses for abusive boyfriends and husbands and stuff like that. We always talk about women divorcing because of it, but let's talk about the women staying in relationships with just their boyfriends, not even someone they're married to. We all know a girl that got beat by a guy that they wasn't even in a committed relationship with, don't even have kids with, and they're like fighting to get back with this dude that beats the shit out of them. And it stems from the fact that the fathers were beating the daughters, and they was. But my thing is, why do people always say, "Well, there's some things that don't like you"? That's the worst argument to make for anything in the world. That you know that something else happens because of this. It doesn't matter. Do you know how societies were created to prevent these things? They measure it from how the most do things, and when the most is doing something that could be detrimental, they create something to prohibit it. So if people, it's not going to prevent it completely, but you create these systems to prohibit it. So yes, there's always, I think there's always, just like that's just like saying, well, no, it doesn't matter because there's always going to be parents that beat kids. So instead of just saying stop, you're just going to say there's still going to be parents. And you're saying that because you don't use emotion behind it, that is okay. Like you're basically saying, when you have a smile on your face, what do you tell me? Okay, show me how you look when you beat your daughter. Then, since you said there's no like
Hey, hold
aggression.
on, real before you go there. I just want to know: do you spank your woman the same? Look at this guy, man. Do you spank your woman the same exact way with that smile on your face, and when she gets upset, you pull off your belt and say, "Hey, you need to be disciplined today." But I
Yes,
do, and this is
I
not to
slap.
general,
Psycho.
but for the guys who have
Psychopath.
daughters, right? When your daughters get older, if their husbands dispel discipline on them and you find out about it, are you going to feel some kind of way about what you did to your daughter?
No, because it wasn't me. because like I said, like I told you, bro. I'm not angry when I talk to my daughter, and I use wisdom when I dis with my daughter. There's nothing abusive. I don't call her no type of names, nothing like
But
that.
what I'm
So
saying is,
if
you
some
taught her that physical abuse was a form of love, right? You're saying that
no,
me
I did
spanking
not.
you was out of love. You just said, I could have swore you just said that.
You did say that.
I didn't say
You
that.
did say that.
I
You
didn't say out of
just
love. I
said
didn't
that,
say out of
General.
love. I did not say out of love. No, y'all did not.
Okay, so you don't love your daughter.
Yeah, I love my daughter.
Okay, are you whooping her out of love or are you whooping her out of frustration?
I whoop out of love, but I didn't say that. That's what I'm trying to tell you in my initial statement.
Well, you just said it now,
Okay.
so continue,
You
Solo.
just
Yeah,
you just said it, man. But either way it goes, right?
yeah.
So if you're teaching her that getting spanked out of love is the thing, right? Then why wouldn't she think that's just a part of love? So do you think that don't you
Because
think
she's a
that has some
child.
kind of accountability on why men feel like they can be abusive towards their women? Because do you know the percentage of men who abuse their women in this country? I think because you
I don't
guys
know.
feel like maybe, and I don't know you guys is personal, so General, you might be the type of dude that pop up and slap. Because one thing I do
I ain't
see,
know.
nah, I'm just fucking with you. But one thing I do see that y'all have in common is Elder Slim believes in the Bible, General, you believe in the Bible, Edward Lynn believes in the Bible, and Craig believes in the Bible. You guys all believe in physical
I do too,
discipline,
though.
okay? But you don't believe in physical discipline.
I
So I
don't.
don't know how. Thank you. So all four of you guys who believe in physical discipline also believe in it, and it comes from the root. The root of that information comes from the Bible. Spare the rod, spoil the child.
You know what, Sola?
Also, it says beat them and they won't die.
Nah,
Look
It
but
at
says that
you
Leviticus.
know
about
what?
the slaves too, though, bro.
Listen.
You
Hey,
Listen.
can beat
why
a
would you
Yeah,
child
say
and
but
that,
kill
man?
Sola,
them.
come on
So
now. You can't listen. I know that it's and I knew this topic was going to turn into this, but I don't want y'all to look. Y'all are just using. Y'all keep using the word abuse,
You threatened
and it's
Chris.
not. It's not really. It's not abuse. That it's not. You know what
Okay,
I'm
what
saying?
what term
Look,
do you want us to use for abusive behavior?
I mean,
What
the only
term
word that
fits
I did.
better for you?
Look, after I looked it up,
Spanking,
the only phrase I could,
kicking,
the two words
slapping.
that we could use are corporal punishment. That's it. That's all I can.
Corporal
I can't
punishment to
use.
you sounds better. Sounds better, right?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But at the end, look,
I just want to know
I'm gonna just say
what
this,
word,
man.
because somebody said earlier that I don't remember who it was, but somebody said I with my kids, and then somebody on the panel yelled abuser, and then you said
Right?
I don't want people to be called abuser. So when somebody says I abuse my child, you want people to not call that person an abuser, right? So if I
No,
said
no, no,
I
no, no,
beat
no.
my woman, hold on. If I said I whipped my woman, and then somebody called me abuser, would you stand up for me?
Yeah, I would. I would stand up for you.
yeah,
I
right.
would. Just
Oh,
like
because
just
you're
just like
just pro abuse. That's all it is.
no,
Go
man.
ahead,
You
Kiana.
see, oh my goodness, this
Yeah, so
guy.
I wanted to
This guy's
rebuttal
getting
to what
very
Slim was
dramatic.
saying that even when I already went over the definition of corporal punishment, and I also went through the list of what is considered corporal punishment, and you're still using the term. That is abuse. That is the same tactics that they use to train animals in a zoo. It's the same tactics that they use to train dogs. Anything that they want to get immediate obedience and fear and inflict fear on. And then you still want to use corporal punishment as if that's a better word. That's actually like the worst word that you could use. There's other forms of discipline without putting your hands on people. And it actually says again on the National Library of what am I on? Of medicine that it does inflict cognitive issues in your child. It can lead
I
them to drugs
never.
and alcohol. Oh, one second. It
I
can
didn't
lead
want to
them
just say I
to
never.
drugs and alcohol, family violence, um, aggression towards the parents, siblings, and peers. It leads to all of those things.
I never
You said
said that corporal
you said it
punishment was
could.
the
It
better
could.
word. I didn't. I never said it was the better word. I said that's the word that they are using by definition.
What word
I
would
never
you
said it was the better word. I didn't. I
use it?
don't. I. That's just
You
the word
did
that I
say
never.
you're not going to use abuse. You're going to use corporal punishment. You said
Right.
that. That's why I
No.
responded the way I did.
No. That's right. I did say that, but I didn't say that was the better word. because
But
I didn't
Slim,
say
I want to
that.
ask
And
you,
I
what
I
was
mean,
if
Yeah,
you
even Troller even asked you to put a word right there.
man, look, spanking. But I mean, if I use spanking, then some of y'all gonna think sexually. So I don't even know what to use anymore.
Only the
because
immature
the right
ones is
word is
gonna think
abuse. I
special.
mean,
Right.
because we could like break down each definition. You know what I mean? So abuse has to deal with violence. So what makes something violence is about using physical force intended to hurt. So if you are spanking or whooping, what is the purpose? What are you trying to do? You trying to do
To
what?
create the
Cause,
act
cause,
or correct an action.
because hitting does what? Hitting does what? It hurts, right?
It makes them think.
Exactly, which makes it
It makes
violent.
them think.
And the definition of abuse is to inflict violence. So it's abuse. I don't give a fuck what
Okay.
you call it.
I
Spanking,
mean, hey,
whooping,
look.
it's violence. It's abuse.
Okay, hey,
Period.
look.
Y'all
I
Well,
was
not
about
finna
to
use
Yes,
this
argue.
for the
I,
round.
hold
No,
on, guys.
we gonna call it. We gonna call it
Hold
what
on,
it
hold
get
is
on.
it
around
then.
here
I was
today.
about to turn it to
Hold
an
on.
argument.
Well, it's not going to turn to an argument because
Ain't
I'm
no
going to go back.
argument. What you
Hold
gonna
on.
argue about? You can't
Okay,
You
argue
had
so
your
with
so
it.
chance to
so
debate,
You ain't
Slim,
got
and you
okay,
nothing for
lost.
it.
So,
okay.
I'm
So
already done with the
I'm
debate.
gonna share. Okay, I'm gonna share
oh,
again,
we
guys.
know.
I was spanked, punished by my father, my mother, and I wasn't abused. I know you guys want to use the terminology of abuse. Okay, I did the same thing to both our children, and it was not abuse. I know that you guys want to make this the case. And number four, I will answer your question. My children are not aggressive towards their parents, nor do they act any form of hostility towards their parents because they were spanked when they were younger. So let's just make sure everybody has a different opinion,
Wasn't my
but there's
question.
not one. There's not
This
one
not
Spanking
an
hundred
equals
opinion.
percent.
This is the
abuse.
definition of the word.
Okay, hold
Yeah,
on, hold
you
on.
This
guys
is
are
the
saying
Hold,
you're
hold,
definition of the
hold,
giving an
hold
word.
on.
opinion.
Hold,
We're
Just
giving you guys
just
hold on,
just
definitions.
because you don't want to own
hold
it,
on, guys.
And
Hold
Spanking
on,
because
hold
you
equals
facts.
on,
don't
hold on.
own it
abuse.
doesn't
Can I
make the
finish? Can
definition
I
not
finish?
be the definition.
Excuse
Well,
me.
rightfully, you
Excuse
did
me.
cut Bob
Excuse
You
7
me.
off to say
spit
your
it.
point.
It- it-
So,
okay, go, you're correct, but you want to tell me about the definition, which is the usage of a word. It's called the usage of a word. How we use it as a society. So I land.
The definition is how you're supposed to use the word, man. You can't be
That
right
is
over a
not the
dictionary.
correct thing,
This is
Zell. I'm
crazy.
sorry, Zell.
Y'all
Zell,
fuck
if
up
you
by
go to the
trying to
dictionary,
change the definitions.
no, hold on.
Yeah, you can't change the
Definitions.
See this?
definition to fit your
Excuse
own
me.
narrative. It doesn't
That
make
I'm
any
shit go
sorry,
sense.
guys.
Did you do
crazy.
this with
I'm
your
sorry. I'm
children?
sorry. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. Definitions are how we use the word in
I mean,
society.
you can apologize to yourself for goddamn it
No,
gaslighting yourself, but you're
definitions
not
are
gonna
the
gaslight
meanings
us.
of words.
That's the thing.
Hold on.
Apologize to
Definitions are
yourself.
not how we use words in society. Definition, look up the word dictionary. Dictionary denotes how the word is supposed to be used. It gives the definition of the word. That's it. That's what a dictionary does. It gives the definition of the word. It
When you
doesn't
go
give the
to a library,
usage of the
excuse me.
word. But when you go underneath the
I'm
prefix
sorry,
of the
Zell.
definition,
You're
it might give
Zell.
you an example on how, man, can I finish my sentence? Let me finish my.
said
Either
retarded.
way, even if you don't like what I'm saying, cutting me off is a waste of time because I'm not going to stop. You're, I understand that you're controlling, Lynn. I get it. I see how you talk. You operate in the way that if
Stop,
you take a
stop, Zell.
definition of something,
You're controlling,
hold on. You're
Zell.
still doing it now. You're doing it now. I can't even finish the sentence. She couldn't finish her sentence. I can't finish my sentence. The moment you feel emotionally aroused, you decide that, okay, what that person's saying is not important. I'm going to cut them off and tell them what they need to be saying. And then you also tried to change the definition to fit your own narrative. Now you're trying to tell us that the dictionary doesn't give you the definition of a word. And that's what it's called, a dictionary. So it gives you the definition of the word. That's the only way that the word could be used is by the definition. And then if it has multiple definitions, then that's just one or two or three ways that that word can be used. But the dictionary denotes how the word is supposed to be used. There is no room for wiggle on that. I just wanted to say that. That's it.
I mean, I don't know. Is it gonna make y'all feel better if I just tell you, I did whoop my kids at some point, but after I read a slave narrative, I said I vowed to never put my hands on my kids again. And what I'm gonna tell you right now is everything that I did before then was abuse. No, I didn't
So,
kill him. No, I didn't draw blood. Yes, I thought it was the right thing to fucking do, but it's not. Point blank fucking
mm-hmm.
period. Ain't nobody's going to make this comfortable for you. That was abuse. What my
Mm-hmm.
mother did to me was abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And she
And
drew
some,
blood.
and as someone
Period. It's
who,
abuse. But
as someone,
y'all black people, y'all want to talk about what the fuck about success, but we the lowest performing, lowest earning all across the thing, and y'all wanna continue to goddamn perpetuate this same shit that ain't did a fuck ass thing. That's what y'all passing down is whoopings. Yeah, I got whoopings, and my daddy got whoopings, my granddaddy got whoopings. Shut the fuck up. We're tired of it. Do
so
better.
for me, so for me,
What is wrong with y'all?
as someone who didn't get whoopings, and my mom is an ordained minister, yeah, we didn't get whoopings, and I was one of those people. I have 4 children. I have a 20-year-old, 16-year-old, 7 and 9. My oldest, because I was so young, I was 17 years old. She used to get hit. She used to get whooping. She used to get told, sit your ass down, all type of shit like that. Then I asked my kid, how did me whooping you feel? Mama, it was so pointless. Like, I don't understand why you even did that. It didn't do anything to me but make me a little angry. This is my 20-year-old telling me this. So I'm like, okay, cool. And then, mind you, now when she told me this, she was much younger than this. So then I start handling my other kids in a complete different manner. I don't really yet. I'll yell at them only because they're boys and they be trying my motherfucking gangster. But I still don't be like, sit your motherfucking ass down. Like, I don't do all that. And I don't feel like I have to put my hands on my children. My children are very good kids. Like, even if they're boys, so they do little shit. But even if I just put that stern voice on, like the men do, like most men can just do, they'll stop. You don't have to discipline your kids by whooping them. For me, discipline don't come with a whooping. It comes with talking and actually knowing your fucking children and having the conversations with them. We don't do that as parents. A lot of us don't do that. Sit down and have a conversation with your kid.
Yeah, I keep asking y'all. So basically, the only measurement I heard for the rational outcome for you in your head is if they did right as far as society is concerned, I did right as a parent, and that I did good. So other outside without using society, because those are social measurements, man-made measurements for society, what other measurement could you use to gauge whether your children are functioning with their mental health after being abused? Like, can y'all give me another measurement other than a social constructed, man-made thinking process? Because I keep going to like, I want to know with Craig, what other measurement can you use?
I'm sorry, real.
Outside of society, what because y'all don't like the word. A lot of people, and I noticed that more people suffer with how they feel about things rather than the answer. So it's rather than you taking the ego aside and just saying that this isn't a good method. But I think, let me ask you then. I want you to be honest. Did you go through every other methods of discipline, and this was what you felt was necessary above all the other methods? Did you
Nope.
ever explore?
Man, there's certain things that I felt called for, like grounding my child. There's certain things I called for just setting them down, and everything that I did came with corrective behavior, came with me talking to them. But and, even if it was toward the end of that, like if I chose to spank my child, I chose to spank my child. But we had a conversation before that, and we had a conversation after that, because it's repeated offenses that they keep doing, and then you
So
tell
do
them,
you?
man, the next time you do that, I'm gonna spank you. And
Okay,
he
okay.
chose
So
to
let
do
me
it
ask you this.
again, and I say,
Okay,
son, what did I
let me
tell
ask you
you?
again because that's threatening him though, but that's still unhealthy in itself too. But are you measuring off your parental expertise? Or are you saying that you as a parent, as far as mental health is concerned, you're an expert at it as the parent, where you can
No, I'm
say
not.
that? Where
I
that's
would never say. I would never say that I'm an expert. I am a parent, but there's
okay. So
no
let me
real fucking book
ask
for
you
this shit.
another question. Okay, so if you don't consider yourself an expert and you felt like that was the measurement you have to take, then what are you measuring it from?
Anecdotal experience, just like most people do
Okay,
when they
okay,
choose
so
to do
okay,
that.
so okay, okay, so anecdotal. Okay, so it made sense. Did you never questioned it though? You never like tried to find out like
Man, so when I had kids, the first thing I said is, I will never do that. I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna be that parent. I'm not gonna spank my kids. None of that shit. But once you have kids, some people that do feel that way. I'm sure some people don't spank their kids, right? I'm sure people really don't. Some people don't. But I'm sure there are people that have felt the same way that I did when they had kids. They said they would never do that. They wind up that that's the route that they take because that type of corrective
because you
behavior
probably
may
felt
have
like it was
worked.
nothing else you could do. Right. So can I ask y'all
So
a
I'm
question?
not,
The
but
ones
I'm
that
not.
that,
I'm
that
saying
does
it's
do that
anecdotal
believe in
because
corp.
it worked for me when I was a kid. Obviously, and what I say obviously is because I got spankings as a child, and I chose. At first, I didn't even want to do that, but I chose to do that with my kids, and because
Craig,
I'm
could
not
you
locked
take
up.
any consideration that these people might be right about spankings being a form of abuse? Is there
No,
any consideration in the back of your
okay,
head after this conversation to say these
so
people actually might be right or onto something about this?
no, I believe that there is a certain aspect of it that is abuse. I'm not going to sit here and be facetious and say no.
yeah,
There are
but you
certain
said
times
one
that
thing that
parents
kind of
jump to that
contradicts
way
everything you
before
said
they
that I
should.
think they caught.
But I'm not gonna, but I'm
Oh,
not gonna sit and say
but
that
Craig,
every time
Hold on,
somebody
bro.
chooses
Let
to
him answer.
discipline their child in that way that it is abuse. I'm not gonna say that.
yeah, but you contradicted your whole thought process. You said when I first had a child, I told myself I would never beat my kid. Why did that? Why was that your rule of thumb? Why did you go there if you
Because I
why
want to
why
say that it's not. I wanted to say that it's not effective. That it doesn't work.
why?
And I wanted to say
No,
I
no,
never
tell us. No, no,
wanted
no,
to
no, no,
have
no.
to
I want
discipline
no,
my child
Craig,
in
no,
that
Craig,
way.
Craig, 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 Craig. Why did you want to say that it's not effective? Where do you get that thought process from? Why? Because you didn't like it, right?
Nobody likes it though.
No, no, no. I didn't ask. It's
So
not
why
about. I'm
repeat
asking you.
it to your child? If
So
like
exactly. So
this the
this
thing
is
that I
crazy.
don't
This is the
understand about
crazy
what you
thing
guys
right
are
here. It's like
consistently saying,
they
right?
get they
I got a whooping. My sister, younger sister, never got a whooping. She's a surgeon.
Yes,
She's
super.
a brain surgeon. So like, and this is the thing about it, right? And I'm not doing what you guys are doing and using the rubric of career success as a reasoning for physical discipline. What I will say is this though, I didn't like getting whoopings. I knew how I felt at the time of the whooping, and I knew it wasn't correcting my behavior as well. It didn't change what I was going to do the next day at all. It didn't even it didn't prohibit it.
Did it
It didn't.
make you
I
a
didn't
little
have
more
fear.
angry?
It in a sense it did
It changed
overall,
the
and
way
I can
you
see the
did it, though.
psychology of it.
You
It
did it
changed the way
differently.
that I react to stimuli, and it made me like,
Mm-hmm.
and Critical Camp said this in the comments, but one of the biggest things that it does, and this has been checked by psychologists. So at the end of the day, I mean, the psychological field actually came to this conclusion that it causes procrastination in children. They procrastinate what they're going to do because they're in fear of physical discipline being the outcome, right? And this is the reason why probably I went through half of my life procrastinating certain decisions
That means they
before
not
I do
thinking
it. Even
straight
right
about what
now,
they're
if I'm
doing.
making a business move, I procrastinate sometime before that, and this is a result of physical discipline. But what I was getting to with Craig is when you were a child and you got whooped, and anybody else who went through this as a child and now has passed this to your children, and now your children are passing it to their children. You guys know that you didn't like the feeling. You also know that at the moment that you got the physical discipline, that it was not going to stop you from doing the same action the next time. And I ain't saying all of you guys are the same, because I know some of you guys were, some kids are just naturally square. They're on their square point. Some kids are naturally more aggressive. Every kid is not the same. And if we think that every kid is the same, then we definitely need to go take a parenting class. I took a parenting class. There's nothing wrong with taking a parenting class. There's nothing wrong with getting formal education in psychology. I took psychology 101. I took social psychology. I did not want to become a psychologist. I just wanted to understand the people that I was around more, my women, my children. So, and I think you guys have a problem with trying to get this formal education and then learning how to operate with people instead of saying, well, I'm happy, I'm successful, and all this. So, but I'm going to do something to my child that I wasn't happy with when I was a child. And then their children going to do it to their children. And then we're just going to hope for the best.
So are y'all saying that
Because
you're a bad parent if you abuse, if you hit your children, if you discipline your children? Because
no, I'm
Why?
not saying
I'm
you're a
sure that.
bad
No,
parent.
no,
I'm
you
saying
didn't
you're a
say
horrible
that.
parent if you're beating the shit
But
out of
you're an
your
abuser.
kids.
But you're an abuser. You're abusive.
Yeah,
It's
and if you guys are
effective.
whipping your kids inside the house, then some big ass nigga like me should just break in your window and beat the shit out of you while you beating the shit out of them. And then that if that's the case, if you guys had that every time, every time, y'all stop that bullshit.
That
Nah,
shit
I'm just
does.
fucking with
But
you,
That
it's
CJ.
like
shit.
it's like one
CJ,
moment they
we
get into
finna
like a conscious. It's like one moment they get aware. They get aware of like how it's not good, and then they resort back to no. Like it's like they can't like stick to the fact that it's not good. If you had to tell yourself when you were about to have kids that I'm not going to do this, and I know why you're saying it because you definitely know how it made you feel and what positions it put you in with your parents, and how you probably don't have the best relationship with them today. And I think most of the
Hmm.
time,
I
kids have
wanted to
told
ask
me,
Edward that though, because Edward got this weird disposition. I wanted to know, like, when he got whipped as a kid, because he paints the narrative as I was a square, they were square, where everything was just perfectly fine. Did you guys get a whooping and walk away from the whooping like, thank you, Father, I needed that physical discipline? Because because I know I walked away like, fuck this nigga, man. Hit me. You know what I mean? There was time periods I would literally was like, as a
thank you,
kid, like I
Father.
would
Thank
fuck
you,
my
Mother.
mama up, man. Yeah, sometimes I felt like that
What's
last
for
hit was just
dinner?
too much. Or the first one was, nigga, I'm gonna fuck her ass up. You be under your tongue. Like, even my mama used to be like, if you even thinking some shit about me, I'm gonna come in there and whoop your ass again. And I'll be like, damn,
But tell her,
stop my thoughts. You know what
right?
I
And tell her, this is
Let's
a
stop my
response of
thoughts.
mean?
people. Hey, Troller, and this is another
Didn't want to be.
response that kids get, especially boys,
Yeah.
when they get to that age where they feel like they can beat their father's ass, or they don't have to take their mom serious because of how big they have. Puberty develops this self righteousness when it comes to I'm indestructible. Their response to
Yeah.
just the
Oh, my
physical
mom hit
discipline
me at
is a
14 and she
reaction.
already knew. She seen the look on my
Yeah,
face
that's
that
the
that shit was
response to
over
that.
with. That shit
Yeah,
was over.
that's the
She
response because now you're like, okay, I'm gonna challenge this man because now he can. Now I'm just as big as him. Now he can't beat me the way. That's the first thing you're thinking about as a son. He can't. I'm not even. I'm taller than my dad. He can't do that, and your dad has to remind you, I will beat your ass. But he would never have to do that if that wasn't the dynamic of the relationship. And this is the thing. Every kid tells me, do as I say, not as I do. My parents told me that. Oh, my parents never really explained. They threatened me. They made me feel like I wasn't nothing. These are all things that correlate to like why the procrastination. I say this when I watch Kendra G. When people say I procrastinate a lot, I always say that's one of the worst psychological dispositions to have as an adult because it is a fear of making a mistake. And that's why people will water
Right.
down everything they do, even if they have to get up to go to the store to go get groceries, because of like it branches off. That's it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what I was gonna say because Craig also made a statement. It was like, "Well, I told her if I have to repeat this to you again, I'm gonna whoop you." So now you can't repeat things like it. How many times have
That's
you
a
had to have
threat.
things repeated?
You
Yeah,
just
like how
threaten your
many times?
kid.
That's a
You say, I'm gonna
threat.
beat you again if you make the same mistake. So basically,
Yeah.
you don't see
Not
it as a
again. Not again. I'm saying before the first time, real.
You
Not
have
saying
beaten
I
them
would do it
before
again.
doesn't
though, so it is they know you've
it's a
beaten them,
threat.
But
bro.
Like
if
Like
no
Craig,
no
you're
no
an
no
argument
no
the
no no.
sharpener
the
Let me know.
iron,
arguments that you
So
guys
Craig.
use are crazy,
so
man. It's
like
like
so
you
like
beating your
the
kid before, but you saying I'm gonna beat you this time for
you
this
know
action, but they know about the other
Child, this
beating, so
white
they do
man
yes,
doing
I'm
in
gonna
their
whip
shit is
head they're
your
crazy.
ass,
relating back
boy.
to
Hmm.
the last ass whooping. You know what I
Uh,
mean, Greg? So it's like,
so
even though I get what you're saying, but you're saying basically it doesn't matter. In the kid's head, he's thinking about the last ass whooping that he had. And I know you didn't like that shit when you was a kid. I didn't
So
even
did
want to
you?
ask
So
you
did you
that, but
grow
I
up in
did want to ask
poverty? Is
Edward
that what
Lynn.
it was? Is this a poor people's problem? Because what the fuck?
No,
Is that
it's
what
this
happened,
ain't a poor
Craig?
people
Craig,
problem. This is
Craig,
a
you was in
universal
poverty.
so
problem.
so you
I'm just
telling
trying to
me
figure like I don't know many white people. I don't know many white people that promote spanking. And I'm just trying to
All right,
see
them
if
white
is the
people
That's a
core
love that
is
fact,
shit.
super. I don't meet many
is
white
is
people that
is,
That's
promote
probably
is
Oh,
this
y'all
accurate.
is,
violence.
tripping.
I'm
White
just trying to
people
see
be
if it
spanking
if
the
it's
Y'all
shit
like
out
gotta
of
is it
their
come
core
on
kids.
now.
core is it
Y'all
is
gotta
that
come
what
Yeah,
it
on
is?
y'all
now.
niggas
Be real,
move
super. I don't know
around,
how many
bro.
white person
Y'all
you
don't know
really
that
know.
many white
Come on
people
now.
then, because white people be whipping the shit out of their kids. Some of them beat the
I'm the
fuck
What
only
out of their
white
are
kids,
person
they?
boy.
super knows. That's
Babies.
why.
Hey,
Yeah, you
I
guys got to
just see
get
the
more white
different light,
friends. White
man.
people do believe in spanking. They're the ones that came
Nah,
up with spanking in the first
man,
place.
y'all look now.
Not
I grew
true.
up in
That's
look.
not
I
true either.
No, that's a fact. You guys came
That's
up with
a
spanking.
fact.
All you got to do is look up. How you gonna say something not true? This is what I be saying about people, boy.
No, no,
They
no.
quick to say something not true because they feel that way. What is your okay? What is the information that you got? Where did spanking come from? Give it to me, Craig.
I would say
What country?
people being whipped in Egypt is what I would say. Slaves being
Whipped in
whipped in
So he
Egypt.
Egypt.
only can go as far
You
as his
have proof
textbooks
that
in
people got.
school.
They didn't even
They
have
talked about
whips in
Egypt one
Egypt.
time.
This is what I
He's
be
talking about the
saying. Y'all be getting
pyramids.
shit from
Yeah, they
movies.
did. They called it.
No, they did not have whips in Egypt.
He watched the cartoon where it showed.
I
He
got all
watched the.
this Egyptian.
What?
I got
This
all
is
this
crazy.
Egyptian books over here, and you
They
telling me
never
they had
used
whips
that,
in
Craig.
Egypt? Where they had
And plus,
hexagons?
the
They used to put
slavery was
people in
Was it
way
called
different.
hexagons,
cat?
bro.
Cat? Was it called?
So if y'all feel this
Chattel
the same,
slavery started with y'all. It didn't start with us. There was no chattel
No.
slavery in Egypt ever.
if y'all feel this messed up about somebody
Facts.
disciplining their child, how are we gonna say that they're not a bad parent? Just a question.
Chinese and Egyptian cultures. The whip is one form or another of one civilized man's oldest tools,
Where
dating
did
back to
spanking your
3000
children come
BC
from, Craig?
in both Chinese and Egyptian cultures. So when you talk about
Oh,
whip,
so
I
we're
just
talking
said
about
the whip
China.
was
So you're gonna. So
Chinese
you're
and
saying.
Egyptian
So
cultures
Yeah.
invented the whip. That's all that I
so
said.
do
What
you
is your
That's all that
understand
I
source?
the
said.
the
but what does
What's
the
your source?
invention
I
of the
just want to
whip
cross
have to do
reference it.
with spanking?
What do you mean?
What
They
you mean?
invented
What
the
do I
whip for
mean?
what?
What does
They invented the
what
whip
does
for
the
what?
invention of the whip have to do with spanking? That's not because that's not the question. We didn't ask you where
Craig
did
trying to
whips
say
come
black
from.
people invented whippings? That's why he's trying to say, yo, if y'all blacks that invented it, we just copied y'all
Child,
and used it
Craig,
against y'all.
please. That's why I
That's
be
not what
telling
I
you,
would
stay
Can
out of
I
say
black
if
can
folk
I can
business.
I
trouble.
give the
That's
answer? I
ridiculous.
have the
Yes,
answer.
please, Kiana. Yes, please.
This is what he's talking
Okay,
about, y'all.
so
This is what I be saying about Google Scholars, right? This is what he's talking about because he Googled it right there on the spot. And this is why people shouldn't even I asked you where did spanking your
I
children
said
come
it
from.
and then
This
I
is your
looked.
answer. The origins. No, I know you would looked it up because you used the exact words. The origins of the
Right.
whip can be traced to any can't be traced to any single person of our time, but almost every primitive culture that domesticated herd animals developed a whip of some type. The bull whip has been invented over 3,000 years ago. An example of it can be found in both Chinese and Egyptian cultures. It's also the first man-made tool to break the sound barrier. A bullwhip is not what we whip our children with.
The
Our
sound
t-
barrier, god damn.
can I give
yeah, because
the how it
that's it's
You
started?
need your
when you
ass whooped for that, Craig.
actual
Don't
bullwhip,
get
actual bullwhip. When you
the fuck.
snap it backwards and pull it forward, it does break the sound barrier. But this is for sheep herders and cow herders. That's what he's talking about. We're not talking about like whipping your children. I asked him where did whipping your children come from. This is what the information he gave me.
This is where you
When
say I don't know instead of going to
whipping
get it.
children came from Christian cultures.
Well, it says that from its earliest practice in ancient Greece, spankings
Oh
were
my God,
administered to
y'all.
adults. It was a pagan practice for increasing fertility in barren women who were spanked by the pagan priests. Later, it was introduced into the Catholic Church as a means for adult women to have their sins removed by the priest by spanking them after confession. In pre WW2 Britain, the practice was expanded to wayward teenage girls in the tradition for the removal of sins. So it started with spanking women first, but it started in Greece.
Yeah, and I don't know anybody that's using a bullwhip on their children, but we can. Yeah, so it started with the Greeks.
Oh, but here's the thing, though. I mean, if we're having a conversation and somebody asks you a question that you don't know the answer to, the best thing for you to do is to say, "I don't know, but let me see what I can find on my Googles. Let me do my Googles,"
All
instead of
right,
just
super.
like
Just say I
rapid.
don't know.
No, do not do Google.
Instead of rapid fire and saying some stupid shit like the
No, no,
bull
no.
whip came, like
I
that's some crazy
I
shit,
didn't
Craig. The
say I
fuck.
didn't say
I don't
that. I
like
did
nothing
not say
about
that.
it.
I
I
did
don't give a
not
fuck
say
what you
that.
said. Whatever the fuck you
Off
said,
the
it wasn't
top of
No,
right.
what
my
you
head,
did.
he said.
No, you.
He said, "Where did whipping come from?" And I said, "Oh, the whip
No,
came
I
from
said where did
Egyptian
whipping your
culture."
children come from? I said where you matter of fact, I didn't even use the word whip. I said spanking your children. Where did spanking your children start? Somebody said that white people don't spank their children. And I said that was incorrect. I actually know a lot of white people. I grew up in LA, but I also grew up in Orange County where I live now. And these people out here whip their kids. They be whipping their kids at parks and all that stuff. There's a lot of white people that don't whip their kids, that allow their kids to talk to them however the fuck they want to. Man, I think that's a joke that goes around the black community that's perpetuated, but that's not true. White people whip their kids just as much as black people, and I said spanking your children definitely came from white people. You said that it didn't, Craig, and you're
White folks
wrong
also
though.
put leashes
So
on their
what you
kids.
did was try to because you don't want to admit that we got that from y'all. What you did was did a quick Google search and found out where the bullwhip came from, which has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And she's
And on
right.
top
And
of
you
that,
should
And you
not.
need your
And I'm
ass whipped
the
for
last thing I'm
fucking
gonna say,
trying that
critical
shit.
Cam,
Do
because I know you're
better.
gonna say that.
God
Is
damn it, just say
anybody
you
yeah,
that
don't fucking
people
know.
that's doing actual
The
research
fuck?
don't just Google, man. Y'all that Google shit
yeah,
is killing the planet.
They have
Killing the
source
planet.
right.
sites.
And then they
Kiana
say,
went to
I'm
a
going to
source site.
tan your hide. That's how you could tell white people invented weapons. Black people hides don't get tan. Only white people do.
Yeah, it's literally called Tanner in the
Well,
hide.
y'all do know
But
for all these
given
places on
spanking,
Google, they have like source sites. And usually it will have a .org. It will have something that will indicate it, and it's not like a published by an individual like a .com. It's usually going to have a
Yeah,
.org or
it's
something
called a
like that.
credible
So yeah,
source.
yeah. So you
Yes,
can.
and I
I have
read that from a .org.
right. So I don't know why people just don't want. You can find the source, and it's going to have way more information.
but
You're just looking for. This is just
if giving
crazy.
spankings or whipping your kid's ass doesn't make you a bad parent, why is it considered bad? Why are y'all trying to deem this shit bad?
It's
Like,
a bad
It
I don't
does make you a
person.
understand.
bad parent. What are you
That's a
talking about?
Because
It
it
means
ain't
you're
did
not
shit
taking
for
your
us.
time to parent
It ain't
correctly.
did shit
It
Right.
for
is
us.
make you a bad
That's
parent.
yeah.
Does it make
It
everything you
makes you an
do as a
abuser.
parent bad? No, it's a bad
No.
decision to make in parenting.
Hmm.
So yes, it does make you a bad parent. They don't want to use words that make people feel a certain kind of way, but these are words that are correctly used. You are a
Hmm.
bad parent at that moment. You're being a bad parent. You're doing something bad, and if it's affecting your children in the wrong way, psychologically, and you know it, and now you have the information. It's different. Like if we're talking about in the 50s and 40s, after slavery, less than 100 years after slavery, people were whipping their kids. They didn't
But
have
why are we not talking
access to the
about when it
internet.
affects them in the right way? You just
Yeah,
said
I
that.
mean,
You
we
They
can
said
talk
we
worse.
about that, but
definitely
it
been
doesn't
sitting here
matter.
saying
Once you
certain
find the
Okay, so
things.
information,
if it could go both ways, it could affect them bad, it could affect them good. How would you saying, yeah, well, you're a bad parent if you do it, even though it could have a good
it's
effect
not
on
going to
them?
affect them good. Whippings do not affect them good at all. There is no
No.
good outcome for whipping your children. Zero. There's no good outcome.
The
And there's no
behavior they was
statistics, no
showing, the
numbers, no
behavior they
behavior
was showing
correction.
changed.
No, it doesn't. The only thing you do is hurt them. At the end of the day, if your kid talks too much in school and you whip them 3, 4 times a year for the exact same reason, how does that change? They're still going to talk in school. And everybody here knows that this is an actual thing. Like people whip their kids because they talk a lot in school. The teacher calls the parent and says, "Look, I sent your kid to what's the after school shit? There's like
After
mini
school.
jail.
After
Yeah,
school.
what do they?
Detention.
Detention,
After
detention.
school
So they
detention,
Oh,
send your
detention.
kid.
Oh,
They send your. This nigga said
ISS
after
mini
school.
detention.
jail,
I
mini
couldn't say
Detention.
it
jail,
right.
the
I
mini
couldn't
But
think of the
jail
word.
part.
come on,
ISS
come
Mini
on.
jail.
So
detention.
Look,
What?
look. They send your
everybody,
kid to
everybody
detention for the
doesn't,
shit. What is a
everybody
black
doesn't whip their
parent gonna
kids
do
for the
when you
same
get sent
thing,
to the
bro.
detention?
Everybody, no, for
What
what?
do
Whoop your
black parents
ass.
do when you get sent to they whoop your ass. If you get sent to detention as a black kid, you will get your ass whooped.
See,
And
that's
as
the
a
whole.
white
You
kid,
trying to
you
sum
might
it
get
all up.
killed. You know what I
You
mean?
trying to
The
seem like
difference
all black
between
people
white
do it.
parents and black parents is white parents have a higher propensity to kill their children for smaller things. This is a fact. You can look it up. You can be mad if you want to, Craig, but it's the truth. White people kill their children
All
more often
black
than any
people
other
don't beat their
culture.
kids for
That's
getting
true, but
detention. Some
also, but
black people
also
really want to
something
know
that
why
white
they got
people do.
detention.
Well,
They was talking too
that
White
much.
would be
people gonna ask
Did they
their
finish
subjective.
their
children.
I'm
work?
just giving y'all
Was their
statistics,
work
man. I can show
finished?
y'all the actual
People
numbers.
are gonna ask.
Bruh,
White people
There
first
gonna
of
are.
all,
Okay.
you
Mario
have
I
to
mean,
Bros
I
is
copy
worth
need
it.
this.
y'all. I
We
need
would
y'all to
love
give
to see
me.
the numbers.
I just need to know what is the logical explanation for physically assaulting a child that cannot fight you back. I need to hear. I need to hear. I need to hear.
To
I need to hear that
correct his
because
behavior.
that's what the fuck.
I just showed you that it's not
So that's
correct.
the only way.
Bro, I just
That's the
gave you
only
an
way that you
example
can
of how I
correct
can't correct
behavior
their
is
No,
by
behavior.
that's
hitting
not the
someone.
only way, though. See, y'all making it something that is not. That's not the only way, but it's a way.
It,
So if I choose to use it, that's on me, and it doesn't make me a bad parent.
it
So when you
Does it
yes,
work?
yes it does.
Does it work in
Yes it does.
society? So,
Yeah,
so
for
you
some
saying that
people it works.
physical whipping somebody ass is going to correct their behavior?
Whipping your child's ass should correct them, or you just
No,
not
no.
whipping their ass
Let's
right.
leave the word child out of this. Whipping somebody's ass is going to
that
correct the
still does
behavior. Is
not
that a
give
true
you. It
statement?
doesn't give. It
I
doesn't.
have
It
no
doesn't provide
control
any
over
logic
somebody else. I have control over my children. So what I do with my
You have
children and what I do to
control over
somebody
your
else,
because
I
you
don't
think
give
children.
a
they're a
fuck.
slave, right? Which
Technically,
is
they
where the
are.
mentality
What?
comes
Come
from.
on, what are you speaking of?
That's
Because
horrible.
even if you're
Ew,
because
that's
listen,
I
right?
disgusting.
just said
Because listen,
technically
right?
they
Who the
If
are.
fuck?
people are
Who
if
the
people are
fuck is
sitting here
this?
Who
giving you
said that? Who
ways,
said technically
That's
they
My
are? Who
boy
disgusting.
said that?
CJ.
Who said that?
Technically, they are
CJ.
That's
slaves.
crazy,
That
bro.
nigga-
You could
Ew.
put your children to work
Ew.
without paying them. What are you talking about?
Put your
You
no,
don't
children to
you
want to
what
can't.
to
call
help
that?
Child
them
You want to
labor
work.
call it
laws.
chores.
It's
It's child
That's
labor
disgusting.
the
laws,
child
bro.
labor law. You're gonna go to jail.
like
Lock his
what
ass
the
up.
fuck?
Y'all, I mean, y'all,
Y'all
So
y'all
said
will
your
come up with
children,
any type of
so
explanation
your
to
children reading
keep up this
your
bullshit.
children doing chores isn't considered work.
Ew.
That's they got
Chores
child labor
and
No, it's
laws now.
not. That
labor.
chores is not work. You can't put them to
No,
work though. You can't give them an
and
actual
that
job
wasn't
where they
Trolla's
don't get paid like
question.
a slave.
It it
Uh,
wasn't Trolla's question, and actually, it just goes to show the ignorance of some of these, and I'll say black families, because they don't even realize that they could actually pay their children a W-2 wage in order to help the household. So
Thank
that's not
you.
what we're talking about. We're talking about
That's a fact.
abusing someone. We're talking about hitting someone. We're talking about correcting them. And so, if you would want to correct a little child, then you should have no problem correcting a full grown woman, i.e., your wife or their mother. So, let me
Facts.
ask you, how often do you put your hands on their mother, i.e., or your wife?
I'm trying to get that. So if
that's
me
what
trying to
Trolla
get the
asked.
kids in order for me and the mother, right? That means I have to beat the mother in order to get the kids right. That sounds crazy.
No,
No, no, that's
that
not
means
what
You
I
see how y'all
you
said.
said
And
twisting
that
it?
it,
you
it,
That's not
it
what
dispel
she
does
physical
sound
said.
crazy.
discipline
It
in
You
sounds
order to
said
crazy
keep the
no. You're
that
saying,
household
you
in
oh,
order.
that
you
your
hit the
that
children,
your
then you have
thought
to hit the wife.
processes
Tragic.
after
That
what I
sounds
said,
crazy.
it does sound crazy,
What
especially
It
sounds
after
does
your
even
sound
thought
crazy.
crazier is trying
process,
to justify physically
especially
assaulting children. The
especially
fuck?
after your thought processes output that information. You see, I gave you some information, and the way your mind processed it, yeah, something wrong with that. Absolutely. What I said was, if you had a woman who needed corrected, Trolla said it best. If you had a woman who needed to
Tragic.
be corrected, how do you do that? I mean, do you have a woman? Do you have a wife? If so,
So,
how do you
and
correct
if you
her
don't have
behavior
a
when
woman
she
that
makes a
needs to be
mistake?
corrected, then what? So
I'm
why do you have
sorry.
to go to jump to the bad? You don't have a
It's
woman that needs to be
bad.
corrected.
The
We're
Like,
point of
talking
saying
about
all of that is
yo,
that
yo,
if
hold
you
on, hold
I don't
on.
even
can't
know.
talk,
You're talking about children that need to be corrected. We're talking about does physical discipline correct bad behavior? You said that it does. So if it corrects bad behavior, why can't you use it to discipline your wife when she has bad
that's not
behavior?
my
all
child. I
all
just
of them
told
can't.
you. That's not my child.
That's not an answer though. You said
And
But
physical
that's
listen,
because
discipline works on correcting
this
behavior.
conversation is
you
not.
just don't like the answer.
Everybody
It's an
cannot.
answer, though.
That's why he says. He
No,
said it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well,
he
He
said
said
it's
everybody
corrective
cannot
behavior.
function in this
Did you
So
type of
graduate high school or
conversation.
what's going on?
Right,
My
exactly.
God.
Exactly. Everybody cannot function in this type of
How
conversation,
did
and
you
that's clear. That's
graduate
why it
high
seems to be a
school?
challenge or it sounds
No,
crazy.
everybody's not just gonna agree with what y'all saying. Come on, stop
No,
it,
But
man.
there
So
are
y'all
you're
trying to be
you
children
came
and
religious,
in the
so when
evidence
I
panel
agree with
against
you, you
your
stop
to
listening.
claim.
you're not
disagree.
making
But
an
So
see,
come
No,
she
on.
argument.
didn't say
you
nothing
came in the
about
panel just to
agreeing.
disagree, and your
We're talking
disagreement
about
Right.
your
participating in the
disagreement
Right.
conversation.
is just
And in
like the
order to be able
debate. The person
to
who gave the debate earlier, your disagreement sounds like the person and the opponent who lost the debate earlier. You have no grounds for a disagreement. You're not saying anything.
Y'all
and then
just
you sound
said
like a
y'all
child. You you
just
sound like
said
a
a
child that you're
spanking.
trying to
Just said a spanking
abuse.
can
I
work
mean,
or it
my
can't
God,
work. So it's a
do
50-50.
better.
It's 50-50. That's what I just
Y'all,
heard.
Those are
So
not the
y'all saying, oh
statistics.
yeah, the spanking this,
Nah,
the spanking that.
Statistics were
I just
given
heard
what
it's
the
a
already.
hell?
Those are
50-50.
not statistics.
Come
Those
Who
are not
on.
told you
factual
that?
statistics. Those statistics
Now
are
you can't
horrible.
just
That's
make
not
up
true.
statistics, babe.
No.
Sorry, it
Listen,
doesn't
some
work
Statistics
that
people,
way.
provide
y'all,
something
we
that's
gotta
And what she
factual.
means
understand.
by being
Statistics
able to
provide.
participate in the conversation, it doesn't mean any. It doesn't have anything to do with about anything to do with agreeing. If you disagree, then you need to have a formal debate of how you're going to deal. Like you have to know how to have discourse. Like you need to know how to qualify your statements. You haven't been able to qualify your statements. You're just leaning on your emotion and your attachment to the idea of goddamn being an
Personal
abuser.
experience.
So I
So
mean,
if it,
just do.
So basically, what y'all saying is don't hit them. Just call them a bunch of bitches, or just talk to them. Just yell at them. You know what I'm saying? Or just talk to them in a way, or just yell at them, or raise your voice, or curse them out. Don't hit them. Right? Just cuss their ass out a couple minutes in a row, or cuss their ass out, but don't hit them though. So what we doing? We gonna say physical abuse is not cool, but what's the other one? Verbal abuse or mental abuse? I don't know, cause y'all ain't gonna sit there and just talk to them like, hey, don't do that no more. And, you know, I love you, and you know, just don't hit them. So what we saying? We saying it's cool to, cause y'all not. If the nigga set the kitchen on fire, all right, let's get some real life scenarios, right? They playing with fire, right? They set the whole fucking house on fire, right? We ain't gonna beat their ass, right? You gonna sit there and what? Make them do push-ups? No, that's physical, right? You gonna cuss their ass out? No, that's too much. You gonna talk to them peacefully and quietly? I don't know. Yeah, somebody help me understand what we gonna do when the house gets set on fire.
Where did
Yeah.
you
You
get
should be
Yo,
watching
Verbal
your
listen,
kid.
abuse?
Why do y'all
listen,
be?
listen.
Where
abuse
are
Chill
your
is
out,
kids
yo.
gonna
abuse.
set the house on fire? This is
That would
this
be
is the thing, right?
neglect.
If they set the
If
house on
you
fire,
so
beating them is
now
going to do
look,
what?
yeah, it's gonna
The
bring the
house
house
already
back.
burnt
you're
down.
supposed to
So look,
walk
this the
around the
question.
house whenever your kid
I
walks
got
around
I
the
got a
house.
question though.
That's crazy.
If you have a child that's young enough to set the house on fire and you haven't prevented them from doing so, like kept the matches away from them,
Thank
lighter away
you.
from
Having
these are things
having
that just
You.
conversations,
if a kid
having
if a kid
conversations.
sets the house on fire, you should whip your own ass because
Thank
you the
you.
one that allowed your fucking kid to get not only get to something that can set fires, but also allow them to find something in your house that was flammable enough to set the whole bitch on fire. Just you know how hard that is for that to happen. Like usually house fires happen because of electrical problems, but if they happen because somebody lit it on fire, like go try to light your house on fire as a grown as adult. It's impossible. You gotta literally find the right shit or find some paper, put it on top of cloth, and let the cloth on fire with some gas or some shit, and then light it. If a kid did that, then he was working his ass off on setting that house on fire. And somewhere down the line, you dropped the fucking ball. Somewhere down
Listen,
the line, and
my son set
you
the
probably did it
my
because you whipped
son
him.
burnt the microwave up, y'all. He put the fucking noodles in the microwave and that he forgot the fucking water. Like, did I yell at my kids? So what the fuck are you doing? No, I had to reteach this little motherfucker. Son, slow down for a minute. Pay attention to what you're doing. What's missing in this fucking bowl, son? Like, what the fuck? I don't have to beat my son or yell at my son. What the fuck is your problem? No, you gotta teach them. They're fucking children. They're children. And just like he said, it's hard as fuck to burn a house down. Like, you know how much dirt gotta go into that shit? Like, what the fuck? We gotta stop.
Yeah, I
Exactly,
think if
critical
your
Cam.
kid
Nigga put a
is
spoon in the
I set the house on fire. Staying in an apartment. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. Set that bitch on fire, man. And yeah, you know, yeah, but yeah, set that motherfucker on fire. Had to move and everything. Move on my grandparents for a little bit. But yeah, I set that bitch on fire, bro.
I knew it was
As a
something
grown
crazy that
up,
you did. You a crazy ass
not just as
nigga.
a personal
What's wrong with
story.
you?
Nigga gives
How
himself
did
that.
you?
What do you do?
How did you set the house on fire, fam?
We'll talk about it.
No, we want to talk about it.
Oh, now he don't
It's
want to
Spanky.
talk.
What do you
We
do?
This
want to
What do
nigga
you,
talk
nuts,
about
man.
this.
what do you do when they burn down the house? They
That's
just nigga burn down
crazy.
the house.
And
How the
so and
fuck
so
could you
and so
set
you
your
get and
house on
what
fire?
did it do to you? You learn not
The
to
funny
ever
thing
set a
is,
house on fire ever again. Is that what happened?
the funny,
Cause that's the
the
only thing
funny
that I
thing
could.
is, my grandmother. The funny thing is, my grandmother has still, just like in the old days, a wooden house where I'm from, and yeah, who was so stupid enough, like a little kid, to sit on the grandmother's rolling chair with enough matches to light that shit on fire when she ain't sitting in that shit? And I was doing my best, really, match after match. I wanted to see how that shit lighted up. I got that shit to light up, and it took me a while now. And it took a while before that shit hit some other shit to go on. But yeah, it's possible.
So basically, you're a pyromaniac. So
Where
no,
the fuck
so
was your
this is
parents
this is
at?
the
You're an
question. First
arsonist
of
and
all,
you
was you
should
getting your
your
ass whooped
parents.
prior to feeling like you can light
Shit
shit on
was
fire? Was you
wrong,
getting your ass
Lala.
whooped?
Like what?
We got
I'm just
pyromaniacs in
still
the
Where
trying to
chat,
I'm
man.
figure out.
from,
So
But what was
look,
niggas
whooping
that
you gonna do
where I'm
though?
from, getting
Where
your
was your
ass whooped is
parents while you were
normal.
doing this shit though? Where were they at?
Right. Where were your parents?
My grand, I was living with my granny. She was on the bedroom, and she was talking with my auntie on the phone. So I had the time.
Not paying attention.
But I'm
Not
I
saying,
being
okay,
wasn't
so when you
focused.
was
attention.
lighting, hold on, this is the thing. When you was lighting the fire, right, and then it caught the chair, the very beginning of this fire, the
You should have
moment
took
that
a
fire
while.
touches wood, it creates a smell. And if it's inside of a house, it's very easy to smell that shit. This parent didn't smell the
The
original part
chair
of
is
the
in
fire.
front of the
Hey,
house, not
Radiant.
in the
And
house.
then
But
he said
yeah,
it
I
took a
get you.
Oh, it's
while.
in front of,
But
it's on the outside. I get you. All right, that makes sense. Cause
but
I'm like, what the
no, no,
fuck
no.
kind of
But
shit going
still,
on in your shit?
after a
He said
little
it
while,
took a
she
while
smelled it,
for
and
it
she
to
was
start.
asking me like,
Yeah.
"What? None?" And I was telling her like, "Yeah, it's coming from the neighbors, cause where I'm from, we used to when we clean the yard, burning everything down, So smelling a little burn, you just go look like, all right, where is it from? And if you see a little smoke coming from a neighbor, you're like, all right. But she didn't look
So
that
why you
day.
didn't go put it out? Because you knew better. Why you didn't go put that goddamn fire out? Because you said it took a while. That's
Because
Man,
logic.
just see,
what is
a
the
normal kid
You
would
likelihood?
think
know,
in
I
his
ain't
head,
never
like,
thought of doing that as a
if this
child.
shit
Wow.
sets my grandma on fire, you down there killed your grandma. So
nah,
this
she
is
was
exactly
she was
why I said
mobile.
that
She
some
could have
kids.
moved. She could have
No, this
moved.
is
She
what
was
I'm saying.
look,
Some kids need to go to
look.
a psychologist. Do you
Look,
think that you might have
Child,
the, the,
needed
the, the,
a
that's
if
what
she
y'all
was in
psychologist?
the
really admitting
house,
to.
I would be fucked. Yeah.
You niggas have mental
Then I
problems,
would be
bro. I'm gonna tell
saying,
you this
yeah,
right
I
now.
tried.
I was a bad kid, but I knew like setting some shit on fire while my grandma's in the
That's
house is
crazy.
nuts. Like that's
And if you
No,
had to
Yeah.
no,
wild.
no,
get
no,
your
no. But
ass whooped,
hold up. She
getting
wasn't
your
in the
ass whooped
house
How
like
old were
in the
prior.
you?
house. The
How old
bedroom
were
Right,
is
but you
at
you?
the
could have
She
back
was
set the
side
in the
of the
house
bedroom.
on
house,
fire by the
uh, uh,
chair,
uh,
which in
on the
turn would keep
outside
in
of
the
the house.
house.
But
How old
I
were
did
Because
you?
the house was
try
made
to,
out of
yeah,
wood. Yeah, you would have killed her.
yeah, nah,
You know they don't
because
have to
the
die
backside,
in the fire to die from the fire. They can
I
inhale enough
know you
smoke
can
to
die
kill them.
from smoke too.
Especially older
I know,
people. Yeah.
She's
Oh
I
shit.
know.
alive. She's alive.
How old were you, sir?
I understood that at 7.
I was 9 or 10.
You knew better than to
That was
do that at
You
9 and 10.
Yeah, I knew
you
better.
knew better.
I was
Right. So like
bored as
Chola
fuck, and
said,
I
you
thought
probably
like,
would
all
have
right,
used some sort of, help
yeah.
at
So if
that
there was
age if you're
no
thinking about
trauma if
lighting
there was no
fires.
trauma, then something else was wrong.
Damn.
Have
Yeah,
you
because
oh,
a
set
there was
have
pyro,
none.
you
a
That's why.
pyromaniac. A lot of
have you
kids
synced
that
any
stem from
He
childhood
probably
trauma.
mental
liked
help and
fire.
stuff?
How do you
He
get
probably
so
liked
bored
fire.
and confident in doing something like that though as a kid though? Like those are signs. How do we? What's the chances of finding two niggas that like burning shit? Like what are the chances
Well,
and statistically of
Two
being in a room
pyromaniacs
It's
on
more
one. They
common
call
the
than what you
first
think.
time,
It's
pyromaniac.
more
the
common.
first time I loved fire wasn't like that. The first time I loved fire was my niece actually burning her bed and me trying to get that shit out because she was scared of the ass whooping she was gonna get. And
Oh
yeah,
my god.
I got the ass whooping because I was the older one. So
Damn.
yeah, after that I was like, yeah, fuck it. If
That
she
really
did it,
should have
I
taught
want
you
to
a
see how
lesson.
long it takes to do that shit for real.
Yeah,
Yeah, you had mental issues. Probably should have saw
that's a mental
someone
problem.
to help for that. Probably still can see someone to help for that.
Nah, because I ain't like that no more.
Pyromania,
She
that would
still be
consider
I
doing
you a
that.
still love fire,
pyromaniac,
but
but that's a
I
psychological
ain't
thing too.
stupid
Yeah,
no
you
more.
still love fire, so nothing
Yes,
wrong with
but that
liking
don't mean I'm
fire.
stupid
When
or not conscious in my mind and knowing what I do. Two
You don't have to be
differences.
I didn't,
stupid to
I'm
have
not saying you're
mental
stupid.
issues, bro. No, he talking to me. You
Nah,
don't have
but
to
I
be
don't got
stupid
no
to have
mental
mental
issue
issues,
with
though.
that no more.
Yeah, but
True, but I don't got
okay,
no
you don't
mental
have it.
issue with that no more.
Yeah, but as a child, that's what I'm saying. When you were a child, then
I
you
had,
maybe you need to
yeah,
seek some kind of psychological help. Because of pyromania, that if you get an arson case, they won't hire you at most jobs. You can kill
I
somebody and
know,
they'll hire you. But if you do have arson, they'll be like, hell, fucking no, we ain't fucking with you.
I know,
Nobody likes an arson.
I
You
know.
niggas is dangerous. It's like it's
Fucking
the worst shit
fucking
you can do.
liability.
This nigga became
Shit.
a super
Hell
villain.
Nobody
He
likes
yeah.
an
just
arson.
hey
Fucking
They
walking
gonna give
liability.
hey troller, the dude became a
No,
super villain. Now I decided to be fireman because my sister
exactly.
turned me
I
in,
saved her
and
and then
now
I
I
I'm
gotta
said,
say,
I
fireman.
want to go into the fire.
I gotta say that wasn't the stupidest thing I did. Like it, like playing with fire. I was even making the stupidest types of explosives just just for chill.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, you should have seen someone.
Yeah. You were
I
listening
don't
to too much
know why you
Bob
think this is
Marley.
normal.
Come on, baby, light my fire. You really was like
When
fucking
I
with
was
something like this, man.
when I was 7, I set my bunk beds on fire in the
What
house.
the
Three nuts.
Craig was like, I deserve that ass whooping for doing that. Not
But
saying that you
but
had to go to
I
a
didn't.
medical
Okay,
professional.
okay. So my mom didn't.
yeah.
My mom did not whip my ass for that, but she cried and hugged us because I grabbed my little sisters and went outside and started screaming for my mom that she needed to go outside too because the house was on fire. I'm telling you, I was like 6 or 7 years old, grabbing my little
Hold
sisters
up.
and
So
going
we got
outside.
three niggas
Six
that
is different.
put a house
Seven
on
is
their house on fire. So there's three niggas on the panel that lit their house on fire. What is the coincidence of this? Like they don't
bunch
think
of
it's nothing
arsonists.
wrong. It stems from getting their ass whooped or nothing. This what make like this is crazy. This can't be a coincidence.
I didn't
But
get
it
my
was
ass whipped, but it was because my grandpa wouldn't allow my mom
Oh,
to whip me.
don't hide now,
My mom
bitch.
wanted to. My mom wanted to whip my ass. My grandpa said, "No, you're
Nope,
not whipping him." Look at what he did. He
nope.
grabbed
I
his
gotta
sisters, went
say,
outside. He was trying to protect
I
them.
So,
got
like,
my
if you
ass
guys
whooped.
believe it, they should have put
I
y'all up
got
for
I
adoption.
got salt thrown
Boy, shut
after that on the wounds, and I got my ass
Fuck
whooped
you,
again.
Trolla.
I'm gonna take
I
my
would have got
kids like
rid
a
of these
Chester
kids.
doll or
Like,
something
yeah,
to
you
play
guys
But
with
gotta
when
but
I
go.
come
Box
home.
Eight,
Start
You ain't
you
about
spraying
to
got
be
your
lighting
motherfuckers.
me
ass
on
whooped, and
fire
then
when
you
I'm
went
asleep.
into trying to make bombs. So it doesn't really seem like getting your ass
Nah,
whooped worked because you went into bigger things.
I
You
So
yeah,
just
wasn't
so
got more
these
supposed to.
curious.
And Craig
people that
collects guns to
yeah.
this day.
Fuck
Yeah,
a
yeah,
ass
they don't
whooping.
understand it.
It won't help
these
with a
people
nigga
that
like
set
me.
their houses on fire, can you say that their parents had trouble raising them?
yeah, they should have got their kids
Mm,
some
Hell yeah.
fucking help. They had
Neglectful,
yes and
yeah.
Bro,
no.
serious.
imagine living in a
I
house with a
needed help.
kid that can kill you any day. Like
And
this
you
nigga,
whooping
like,
them.
I would have put their ass up
Look,
for
yes
adoption
and
because
no,
I ain't
cause
about to
mama
live
did
like that.
everything
Nigga,
she
you
had.
set shit on fire, you gotta go.
All of them got
I
whooped.
got other kids to think about.
They was angry. You see what we saying?
Yo,
This shit.
No, I
See,
think
I'm
I'm gonna
my
telling
look.
you
I'm
mom.
right
gonna
now,
look
boss. Say if you
for
was
the
my
fight.
kid, you would have been gone. I'd have sent your ass to a group home.
Well, isn't that
You'd have lived there
crazy?
for a year
Even
before,
Slim,
and
Yeah,
then
but
before I
that's the
came
even
funny
got you.
thing.
Slim, even
I'd be
Slim
like,
was
you
lighting
learned your
But
trash
that's
lesson.
cans
the
on
funny
fire.
thing
What
with
is up
me
Set
with the
though.
something
fight?
else on fire and see what happened. Nigga, you gonna be there for the
But that's
rest of
the
your
funny
life.
thing though. My daddy did the same thing when he was younger, playing with fire, and
Them
his
That's
grandmother's
generational
hereditary.
role
curse.
in fear.
So he's got serial arsonists in his family.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
generational mental
Generational.
illness.
Listen, you hear me?
No,
Aerodynamics.
I
These
was
And
niggas
told
I
is
I
bet,
was
damn.
told not
and
to
we,
play. So
Y'all play with matches. Ain't nobody played with a life. Ain't nobody, um, none of y'all played with matches. Um, snuck and smoke. None of that shit. Ain't everybody in here would just never play with no
Not to
By the
matches.
set
time
Nobody.
I
houses
was
on
look,
Why
the
do
fire.
you
only
have
Fire
time
to
I ever
put
used
again.
pyro
Or
matches
matches?
just
was
take
to
Why
away
have
do we all
weed.
green, put
gotta
it
set
on
it on
fire,
Yeah.
make
fire?
it
It's
fly or
crazy.
something
I
like
didn't
that.
care about lighting
I
fires until
didn't
I
care about
started
no
smoking weed,
lighters.
bro.
If I
And
went
that's when
camping or
I
something,
lit
I
it
had a
and lit
lighter.
the blunt. That's it.
You
Exactly.
see what people do when
Talking
they
about
do
playing with
crazy stuff. So
matches
y'all ain't
and you
light
miss
stuff
it.
on fire. Y'all ain't like
Yeah,
playing
what the
with
fuck would I
fire.
No,
So
be
y'all
sitting there
just
playing with
ain't
Yeah,
lit no
matches
listen.
listen,
lighter.
for?
hold
What the
up.
hell? Who does
They
I
Y'all,
ain't
that?
never
sitting there
thought to
I
set
ain't never
something
heard of
Hold
on
that.
on. They ain't
fire
never.
in my own damn
Hold
house.
on. Y'all ain't never
Me
used
right.
a
neither.
magnifying glass. Y'all ain't never tried to use a
Not
magnifying
in
glass
the
to light shit
fucking
on fire.
house. We're
The
not
Of course,
lighting
magnifying
beds
glass
and
Not
is
shit
in
in
the
the
science.
house.
of
They
house.
teach
course
you
not
that
in
in
the
the
house.
science
That wouldn't
class.
work in the house. Stop it.
They teach you that in the
The ma-
science class that you can
I
use a
know.
magnifying glass. It doesn't. It's not gonna start a fire unless you put a gang of like flamments. Like if you put like
They also teach you how to
newspaper,
be
dry
responsible.